We're back once again. I've come prepared today because today is, of course, an FOMC day. We got FOMC coming up in just about an hour and 20 minutes, and we shall be live for such times. And also the conference call afterwards, which honestly is where all of the magic and all of the fun part probably does begin. I've come prepared today. I have a cup of caffeine. I have 2 massive jugs of water, and I even have some noms as well for when I get hungry. And my brand new. Very exciting Voodoo Priest 5-inch ported in midnight bronze. Very excited about this. Probably no one gives a fuck because you don't even know what the hell it is, but that's okay. That's okay because we got more important things to talk about today with good old Bitcoins right here. Obviously today being a big day, I really do want to avoid making any major calls before this event happens because as you know, as anyone who's been around the markets for, even a small amount of time, you know that this sort of an event can certainly change analyses around extremely fast. But I will be looking for some very specific things around that event. That, I could base some trades off of. I certainly will be interested in options today. That is absolutely my priority right now. And then, of course, we do have some major pivots as well. But based off of yesterday's video, Bitcoin technically did break down below the Rev and Ribbons midband. It has also had a pretty nice bounce upon it upon the bottom end of lower band 1 as well. And thus far today has been rejected right at the midband yet again. So technically there is a short-term bias to the downside, but based upon the event coming up in just about an hour and 20 minutes, I do want to hold off on making any significant claims on price action. Anyways, going to the opener over here, of course, we got Bitcoin at 64,475. Actually, that is the trigger, more or less. That is effectively the Rev and Ribbons midband, I do believe. Let me just double check on this one. Yeah, 64. It's technically 64,481 if you want to be super exact on CME. But yes, indeed. Anyways, Bitcoin has one job today. The Fed decides if it keeps it more or less. Do still see a path to $70,000 if Bitcoin can put in a real fake out here, essentially reclaiming that number by today's closure on CME again, very specifically. But for right now, yeah, it technically is, I guess, a small bias to the downside. Anyways, see a lot of familiar faces in here, and also a lot of fucking noises going on in the background. Got to turn this shit off. Annoying as hell. Sorry about that. That's Discord going off. By the way, if you're not already in Discord, you can, as always, join for free. There's a link in the description below. It is, it's the Wild Wild West over there. So you have been warned. You have been warned. Anyways, how the fuck do I turn off the sound on this? Where is the streamer mode? Apparently, they've changed everything around. God damn it. Why? Just don't change anything around. Just leave everything the same. That's all that we need. How do I turn the damn sound off this shit? Oh my God, that is so fucking annoying. Holy shit. Where system? Okay, can I turn? Oh, okay. I cannot deal with this right now. I'm too retarded. Yeah, it looks like we're just gonna have to deal with the stupid fucking noises for a while. I think that's just the way that it needs to be. Stop sending me messages. Stop fucking sending me messages, for the love of God. Anyways, it's not a stream without an autistic outburst. Anyways, yes, scenario A, of course, close above. And actually, I do still think Bitcoin would have a path towards 70 to 72,500. Probably not this month. Obviously, this month is just about to end. But in early, mid, maybe late August, sometime next month, essentially, that would be... that would still be open. And of course, scenario B here, Bitcoin effectively continues to be rejected at this 64,400-ish number on the daily Rev and Ribbons midband. And of course, that still opens up the door for another retest of 60,200 to 61,500. And look, if Bitcoin does come down around there, as we'll go over in a little bit, I actually do think that probably is going to be an opportunity. Yeah, it's also tiring. It's also tiring, says PD Bitcoin. I know, man. We're all so tired here. We've all been around here for too damn long. But that's okay. That's okay. That's what it is to be in Bitcoin, is to wake up every morning, pull down your pants, and get penetrated by the red dildo of fucking destiny. It's just life. It's just life. Anyways, I'm still short. I'm still holding those shorts. $66,500 calls expiring next Friday. If Bitcoin does reclaim that midband today, I probably will be forced into a decision. But for right now, still holding that. And I do think that probably based upon today's event, I will be able to take a few more options trade. I'm just looking for the obvious thing. And look, if you're new to trading, or if you're even more seasoned trading, I really think taking positions before an event like this is not wise. Yes, sometimes you could be right, of course, but in my opinion, unless you're an insider, it's just a fucking coin flip or coin toss. It's a coin flip. It's 50-50. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have a fucking edge. But there's usually a pretty obvious trade on the other side of an event like this, which, you know, yeah, the P&L might not be as high as if you guessed right before the event, but you have a higher probability of being right. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for right here. And we'll get into that soon enough. What's up, Crypto Omega and Hoi Hoi and Lomochella Azul and Hourglass? Sean Nevins, feels like a lot of people are here. That's fucking awesome. Blake Docsbet says lol. Pulley Space Monk says Krown. Do a desk pop. A desk pop? What does that even mean? It's legal now. Trump's prezi. I actually don't even know what a desk pop is. What the fuck is that? What is that, sir? What is that? Hey, what's up, Arib, Dan Robertson, and Pisa, and Trance, and CG, and Ronica. I think that's the name. And good morning from Bangladesh for Arya. Hell yeah. What's app is what that got translated to, Sam and Kajan, and he just said, what's up? Got translated to WhatsApp. That's funny. Anyways. Yes, it's a coin flip that you lose 75% of the time. Yeah, right. Well, it can feel that way sometimes, certainly. It's like you're going camping for a couple days. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Yes, I'm all stocked up here. Just finishing off the rest of this caffeine. Arib says SNDK and MU shitting it. I believe last time we spoke, you were short. We've been bearish on these names for pretty much this past month. We've been looking for a high in early July, and I think that we've gotten that, man. I think that we played that quite well. Not that I'm actually playing those personally, but shout out to all the people out there who are actively trading these semiconductors. That is going to go amongst one of the most obvious tops, only next to gold, honestly. Only next to that one. FOMC decision coming in now. The countdown is 113. Oh shit, you can't see the top of the countdown. How terrible is that? How terrible is that? Let me see if I can. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay. I'm just not going to fuck with it then in that case. All right, let's go over here. I'm going to polish off the rest of this and we'll get into the actual, and then we'll go into the actual, get into the actual analysis of the day. Oh, the desk pop is from the movie Other Guys. Yeah, now I remember that. Yeah. Good movie, man. Didn't think Mark Wahlberg would come off well in a comedy, but he actually did pretty well. Anyways. Salmon says, your last video when you gave the blueprint for trading was fire, by the way. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I've been trying to upload more and more stuff like this. I'm really in legacy mode right now. And I've actually gone through, if you haven't noticed, I've actually gone through both the TA 101 and the Options 101, both free courses, and I've updated them completely. So if you haven't seen them in the past, I would say 3 to 4 days, the content in there is, the content itself is the same, but I have upgraded the visuals that accompany it. And I'll probably even upgrade the quizzes as well. I want to add more to that. I think that we can do more there. And what else? Yeah, and also I'm working on doing the same thing for the Krown Trading Bible. I've gotten about, that program's so fucking long, it's taken a long time, but I've gotten through maybe, I don't know, close to 30 videos now, but the problem is there's like 100 videos, so it's gonna take me like another week or two until I run out of Claude credits, which I'm already at 26% for this week. Holy fook. That's a lot. The week just started. If you didn't know, Fable resets on Tuesday. Not doing too well for this week already. I'm token maxing right now. I spent $400 on fucking tokens just last week, and I'm already on the max plan. Oh, we're so close. There it is. Okay, beautiful. All right. Okay. So for Bitcoin here, not only do we have a big event today with FOMC, but we also got the 5-day and the 10-day closing for spot price action. And spot price action is kind of at an interesting area right here for the specifically for the 10-day. The 10-day, as it stands right now, does look to me like it does, like this will be a local high for the short term. Now, at the same time, I don't think Bitcoin has that much lower to go. You can already see the 10-day time frame as a couple drives of bullish divergence right here. If it comes down for that third drive, which I do think you will get if Bitcoin comes down to about low 60s, at that point, I'm going to start to feel really, really confident this is going to be one of those 3 spike lows on the 10-day time frame. And that should be, if you see a quick reverse from there, back above about 64, that would be a really, 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 really strong signal for me to, again, lean into potentially a macro low here, but at the very least, a big bounce into the low 70s. But for right now, things are more set up for some downside price action. In fact, I'm just kind of chomping at the bit to take some more short call positions. I almost want to do that exactly right now, but I will be a little bit patient, a little bit more patient. Need to get prepared though, because those premiums are going to collapse real fast after an event like today. So I do want to jump on that when the time is proper. But as it stands for the 10-day time frame, if we can go over here, the 10-day time frame actually will see stochastic momentum cross the upside for the first time since March, when Bitcoin had a pretty significant rally from 60,000 to 80,000 bucks. If Bitcoin can finish today above 62,100. Now, finishing today above 62,100 usually would not be that big of an issue, but because it is an event today, you know, that can change around really fast. Bitcoin's only about $1,400 away from that as of right now, or $1,500 away from that right now, which is not all that much. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin come down, test down around that previous opening low, which was about 60,000 bucks. Try a bounce from there. That's kind of what I'm biased towards right now. But again, today's event can absolutely change my opinion in the snap of a fucking fingers. On top of that, like I said, the revenue ribbons still living below the midband as of the first break yesterday. Yesterday did have the first break since basically the early July rally began at the beginning of this month. So that is significant. And as long as Bitcoin's below it, yes, I do have to maintain a short-term, medium-term downside bias towards those targets, perhaps all the way down to 60,000 bucks, but likely down to at least $61,500. The only way that I change my opinion on that is if Bitcoin effectively reclaims that within the next 48 hours, or within the next 24 hours, between today or tomorrow's closure. It would be acceptable to reclaim that if that's going to happen. At that point, yeah, you're probably going to see targets up to 70,000 bucks relatively quickly. I think that's less and less likely to happen right here. But yes, you know, with Bitcoin hanging around these regions, still possible, I do suppose. In the meantime, traditional market is absolutely fucking necking on the other side. We can see pretty much red across the board here. It's like I'm just getting fucking killed in traditional markets today. Oh my God, it'll never be the same. Consequences have never been the same in this case. And you can see pretty much every name is coming down right now. I think only a few are green. I mean, this is literally a fucking what's called a bond index. So that's up 0.25%, kind of crazy. Same thing with this as well, I believe. Sorry, no. This is actually a venture capital access fund, but I'm actually not interested in that. I don't even know why I have it on my board. Google's up at 0.5% almost, so not bad right there. Microsoft as well. But we do have a lot of earnings coming into later today. Keep in mind, today is a big day, not just for the FOMC decision, but also Amazon and April Laverne. Stupid. Amazon and Apple earnings after the close today, I believe. And then Q2 GDP coming in as well. These are all big. Those are all tomorrow, actually. I apologize, not today. That is tomorrow. And then Friday is going to be June PCE. So as well as the July monthly closure. So we got a fucking smorgasbord of big events coming up in these next couple of days, like really big. And this is going to have massive influences for me. Again, I do default to yesterday's video for the monthly closure. All those numbers are still very much relevant, but obviously, you know, beginning with today's event, we can definitely see the dominoes that can easily make that no longer a viable path, I suppose. Again, more or less need to see Bitcoin above about 64,000 bucks by end of July, Friday. With right now, Bitcoin just slightly below, still possible, I suppose, but it's a long way left to go, and there's a lot of events between now and then. So calling it right now when it's nearly, you know, 300 bucks away, I don't think really, you know, matters for all that much. Anyways, we could probably get into the super chats relatively quickly here. I do want to do a very quick announcement, however, because I have partnered up with Coinbase, and I think the partnership is now more or less live. Maybe it goes fully live on Friday, but Coinbase is offering, as you can see down here, they are offering through my link specifically up to 250 bucks in deposit rewards. Who gives a fuck about that? You know, great, 250 bucks. I mean, of course, you know, more free money is good, but obviously the big one here is 80% spot reduction fees. And there's going to be a derivative fee reduction as well. I think that gets initiated at the end of this week here too. Here's the thing though, with this link specifically, they will only honor these perks if you have a new account with Coinbase, or if you previously had an account with Coinbase that you have not used, that's basically been inactive for 90 days or longer. Kind of pissed me off when they told me that, to be honest, because like, I don't know, why not just let everyone get on it? Like, who gives a shit? You know, you guys are going to make more money. It's okay. But at the same time, I guess you could probably just make a new account. It's annoying, obviously. Like, I get it. Anyways, in celebration of that, I will do a daily DCA here. We'll just buy 100 bucks of Bitcoin a day, and see what happens, I suppose. So let's go over here to Coinbase. This is Coinbase advanced look. And Coinbase, oh wow, okay, it's already a little bit lower than that. Let's go 669 bid, and let's just buy $100 of Bitcoin per day. We're filled. Holy shit, we're already underwater. This is terrible. I hate this. I want out. I'm selling now. Kidding. But yeah, anyways, if you're wondering why I'm partnering with Coinbase, because one, they are a legitimate exchange. They're, regulated and fly above the board in the US and for most major Western countries as well. So that's big. Don't have to be crawling around on these no KYC exchanges. And then two, they do have perps, but more importantly, what I'm most interested in is the options contracts that are coming out. For retail traders, that's going to be coming out, they just told me, in November. And for retail traders in the US, that comes out in November. If you are from, I think, any other major nation, you will have access to that, I believe, in September, they said. I'll have to double check on that, but it's coming very, very soon. And for me, this is fucking absolutely massive because I'll be able to trade Bitcoin options on the same exchange where I trade Bitcoin futures. Thus, I can use portfolio monitors to actually cover myself, which is honestly where a lot of the magic happens. Again, positions like this over here are significantly difficult to do when you have to, cross on different exchanges. Basically, you have to keep accounts on different exchanges. It kind of sucks for, my most favorite strategies. In this case, well, finally, I will have a place where I can just do it all in one place, and I don't have to keep multiple accounts and don't have to be on these fucking no KYC exchanges, blah, 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 blah. And so that's much, 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 much better. Anyway, still holding, like I said, these $66,500 calls short, expiring next week. Short of these for $500 each, 20 times. Maximum profit here is $10,000. If Bitcoin goes above this week's high, which is 65,700 or something like that, I will cover those. Because that would also be indicative of a reversal emerging, in which I would want to buy the underlying. So I'd buy 20 Bitcoins at 65, let's call it 65,700, I think is about the pivot right now. And that would essentially cover me from that number to that $66,500 strike. So I'll make on that plus the short premium, which is another $10,000 on top of that. But for right now, just holding those, letting them decay. Obviously, price action doing what it's doing right here is really, really nice because just time ticking down. And that's why I love options. Just ticks, 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 ticks. And every little tick on the clock equals more theta in my pocket. More theta in my pocket. I mean, assuming shit doesn't go up, but going sideways, good. Going sideways, very, very good. Anyways, Grateful Dab says Coinbase banned me for depositing $5,000 and buying some crypto and sending it to my wallet. Said it was suspicious and that was banned forever. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, that sucks too, man. I don't know, man. They should probably be getting all of that much better now. I mean, if they do that to me, then God, there will be hell to pay. And by hell to pay, I mean I will have no recourse. Yeah, man. Anyways, we can go check out some of the super chats now. Got a couple right here. We got PZ's looking at XRP daily, weekly, and monthly. And now the countdown is just over an hour until our event today. And like I said, I will be live during the event. We'll be live during the conference call, and we can listen to it together with our hands holding as well. Yeah, XRP looking like it is. It's this. I mean, shit, man. If anything wants to break down, it's this. Don't like it, man. Don't like it. Look, as we said last week, I believe when we looked at it for you, if Bitcoin obviously keeps its rally alive, then this thing has a chance to at least not break down. If Bitcoin really even hints at a breakdown, this thing very likely is going to retest the lows, which was about 101, 102, which I think this one is en route towards. And XRP is honestly in a position to break those lows. Technically, though, you can't really confirm a breakdown until you close below about 104 on a weekly time frame basis. But there certainly is several indications here that it is going to have a real opportunity to do that this week. You got many drives of hidden bearish evidence here on characters RSI, so obviously not good in the short term. That does give some downside buys. The 2-day time frame has hidden bearish evidence, 1, 2, 3 drives. The 3-day time frame probably actually does not have it right there. And to be fair, that is a correct call by Caretaker's RSI, but I think Bitcoin actually does have 3-day. Oh no, it doesn't yet, at least. Not yet, at least, I suppose. But yeah, as far as XRP goes, let's go over what price it would need to actually reclaim in order for this thing to be, I guess, better, if you will. Again, it's the same thing as last week. It needs to reclaim that 116 high. Other than that, it's a downtrend on every fucking time frame that matters, which the trend is your friend here. And unfortunately, the trend is to the downside. And I do think that this one is poised towards another retest of the lows. And I mean, if you see that weekly close below about 104 or the daily close below about 102, at that point, I have to be looking towards 85 to 90 cents. And that's, I mean, not good for something like this, I suppose. Monthly time frame also, God. If it pushes off here, I mean, that is just not good. Not good at all. Anyways, we shall move on to the next one. We got Jack 2995. It says Krown altcoins to infinity and beyond. Indeed, I believe you that altcoins are going parabolic on the inverse chart. Incredible, incredible. Anyways, Arib says SNDK trade closed. Let's check it out, man. I'm curious to see where it's at. I really don't look at these things unless people ask about them. So I don't look at these things in my free time. But yeah, we did say down to about $1,000, and shit, man, it's just about there right now. I do think that this one will go lower over time, but $1,000, you know, being a round psychological even number, I expect there's probably gonna be a bounce temp there. But look at the monthly now. The monthly is, it's just, this is, I really dislike using very strong terms like this, but in my opinion, in my humble, stupid opinion, this is undoubtedly a swing high on a monthly time frame. Swing high on a monthly time frame means that you're gonna spend some time coming down to find the next swing low. Is that going to happen all in 1 month? No. Is that going to happen in 2 months? Probably not. This rally, for example, went all the way from May of 2025 to June of 2026. It lasted about a year without any real pullback in between. This can go on to the downside for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing at, you know, $500 within 6 months to a year. Of course, there's going to be bounces along the way. Maybe one at $1,000 and another one at like I don't know, 830, 840, 850, whatever. But ultimately, this thing, I think a lot of the semiconductors and computer related stuff looks more or less like this. They're more or less putting in tops in. MU, very, very similar ticker here too. Same thing. It's just same shit, man. You know, they had their runs. And that was really impressive, but all good things must come to an end now, shouldn't they? And Intel, same shit as well here. Again, this is a stock that I own, but you know, I still think that this one's now coming down finally to our $80 targets. Honestly, happened a little bit faster than what I expected. So realistically, that probably means it's going to come lower before it's all said and done. I mean, this is just your first real pullback of a month. First month of a pullback. I really am dyslexic. I'm undiagnosed, but I quite literally am dyslexic. So I deserve like some sort of a handicap signal because I actually am retarded. I have a speech impediment and I'm dyslexic. Like there's real issues going on here. They're undiagnosed, but it's terrible. Anyways, yeah, man, I would not be surprised to see this thing come down to like 75 or 65 in that pocket there. Just, you know, 1 month of pullback is very unlikely to, you know, mark the next major macro low. So fucking unlikely here. So yeah, hard not to be short-term, medium-term bearish on these things. But here's the thing. When you go vertical like this from basically $20 all the way up to $140, well, the problem is that you don't put in any higher lows on the way up. So technically come down to $60, play at a, you know, about a 60% retracement and still be a higher low and still be good for the very, very long term. But in the short term, it doesn't really matter if, you know, if you're trading that, especially day trading that, you know, it is absolutely bearish. Anyways, all right, let's read through a few more of these comments over here. Hello, cave men and cave ladies, also cave zers and zers as well. It's Krown Goon Cave. I don't even know what gooning is, but I like it. It's a lady who said that too. Oh yeah. Anyways, Krown, what about Kospi index on the daily and weekly? Let's check it out. I remember this is Korea, right? And probably not doing too hot right now. Yeah. Jesus, it looks like a massive semiconductor chart. Wow. Holy fuck, what happened here, man? Did the president just like announce that capital markets are dead or something? It probably does bounce here, to be fair. I mean, this is a good bouncy area on the weekly. Coming off that weekly 55 EMA. Monthly time frame could certainly, you know, trade lower in August, maybe towards like 4,900. But, you know, you're probably in a short-term bounce area. You know, maybe something like this. Boom, comes up, maybe comes down slightly lower towards 49 and then tries for a low. I could see something like that happening, but yeah, fucking atrocious, man. Very, very bad. Very, very terrible. Very ugly. Very not good, they say. Yeah, SPY futures over here are starting to look not so appealing, but still wouldn't call it until the end of this week, to be fair. But God, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too conservative here. Too dogmatic towards my own rules, but Yeah, still holds the uptrend, so can't really hate that. NASDAQ is hitting our breakdown target. It is really starting to break down towards our targets. However, I think that this thing could get down to like 26,500. I will be a buyer there, to be fair. I will be a buyer. Then again, that looks like God, is that an actual top? Is that an actual top? Certainly a monthly swing, but yeah, 26,500, I got to buy a little bit there just because some DCAing, as they say. Ong Hengi says, hi, sir, AIQ weekly, monthly. We could check out this one. This is one that I do own myself. I'm big into basically AI and tech in general, but I'm probably not a buyer here. I'll probably wait until it gets down to about 53 bucks. So that is a nice area where I would like to add to my DCAs. Same thing over here, more or less. Sorry, not daily, but monthly bearish divergence on Caretaker's RSI. I think you're coming down to 53, maybe as low as 49. I'm a buyer in those regions there. Topped out on extreme volatility and also extreme volume. It's pretty classic stuff. So I'd give it some, realistically, it's going to take multiple months to actually like form a low, reverse from that low, and so on and so forth. But for right now, yeah, have to be more downside angled with bounces along the way. Probably big bounce attempt in the mid 50s if I had to guess. The Iran war is like that girlfriend that just won't go away. On again, off. Is it on again, or is all of this price action being predicated upon today's event? In fact, while we're here, let me get a live stream ready for the FOMC. Let's see if I can bring this up really quickly. Yeah, here we go. Okay, cool. The FOMC meeting live. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, this looks old. Yeah, this must be old right here. This one says it's from Money Control Channel. I don't know, man. Sell gold by. If you ever want your head to explode, read the comments of a gigantic live stream. The ones that have like 10,000 to 20,000 people. I just want to fucking tear up my eyeballs whenever I have comments open on that shit. Anyways, back over here, we got Andrew plus Tesla daily and weekly. I'm guessing it ain't doing too well, but has it hit our target of under 300 to about 285 to 290? It's getting damn close here. I still think that is en route to about 280 to 290-ish region, somewhere around there. I think that that's a good bounce area as well. You got multiple drives of bearish divergence here on the monthly time frame on Caretaker's RSI, so that green 55 EMA is a legitimate target. That's 294. Weekly time frame, 200 simple moving average coming in at 283. Anywhere in that pocket there, I really do like for another bounce attempt. Does it try for a macro low there? Hopefully. It's looking pretty fucking ugly here on the monthly, though, I will say. Quarterly also having the 21 EMA at about 287. But yeah, absolutely must reverse there. Otherwise, you got big risk down to 220. Yeah, man, not going to look too hot right there. Anyways, let me take another sip of this. Krown looking like a total Chad. I am not a Chad, man. I'm a beta. I'm a beta male. One positive dude says margin calls sounds bad, sir. Sounds bad indeed. Eduardo Erazabal says, hey, Krown, I've been looking to get a position on IonQ for a long time. Okay, let me bring it up first. What are your entry targets for a daily, weekly? Again, it depends what you're trying to do, man. I probably wouldn't want to enter this thing at all personally, but if I absolutely had to buy an area, it'd probably be down around 26.5 to 28.5 region, getting quite close there. Again, I will not do that because I do not like computer related stuff. Not a fan of anytime soon. But if you put a gun to my head and said, hey, where's like a good DCA area, that would be objectively a good one. You do have multiple drives of bearish divergence here on the monthly time frame. So you're probably going to at least hit about $26. It's very likely you're going to bounce there. But if I'm just shooting you straight, like I don't like this chart. I mean, you have real risk here, to be honest with you, very large risk. Quarterly time frame, probably most people are not going to identify it as such, but this is a head and shoulders right here. And again, if you reference the trend video that I released, I think it was last weekend, all this is a potential quarterly reversal. You got a lower high right here. If it really starts to break below $22, I mean, this thing's on a one-way ticket back down to fucking, 10, 11, 12 bucks. It can get very, very nasty here. But hey, if you absolutely had to play a position, if I had to DCA and I was like super, optimistic about the long term, I guess somewhere in that pocket that we just spoke about is okay. At least it makes sense from a technical perspective. Just pray to God that it reverses there. I should get at least a bounce. So yeah. Anyways, hey, Krown, what do you see SPY doing on these 3-month and 6-month? Let's check it out. haven't looked at that today on these timeframes. The monthly timeframe is still actually quote unquote okay. 3-month time frame still okay here as well. I think that you probably get if you get a pullback down to like 71, 7,200, I think that that's a buy. If it, I mean, that's even assuming that it even gets there, because to be honest, it still even holds an uptrend on a daily. Yeah, it's under pressure here, but technically it's not broken just yet. The SPY is not that bad. 6-month time frame, same thing. That's still overall bullish. If it comes down to like 7,200, that would be a buy to me. I'm not even saying it's going to come down to 7,200, but if it did, that would be a buy to me. Similar to NASDAQ coming down to about 26.5 to 26.2 region. I'm a buyer there. And to be fair, on the 6-month time frame, you do have some bearish divergence building up here, so it can get very nasty. That much is certain. Yeah, and SPY would have kind of the same thing going on here, I suspect as well. Anyways, let me just check my phone really quickly. Okay, all right. Ooh, a new message from Goon Broker. My Goon Broker. Ooh, that actually looks really, really cool. I saw this like just absolutely incredible firearm this morning that as soon as I see it, it's like, oh shit. All of the wheels in my mind start turning. How can I justify this purchase that I absolutely do not need, but actually want? Anyways, let's see. Sean Nevis, same for AMD. You want to look at AMD? We could check out AMD. I imagine it's probably going to be following Intel. Yeah, similar thing over here. Should have a bounce attempt off the red 5 EMA on the monthly time frame. I guess that's kind of like, and also the weekly 21 EMA. It's kind of like your last line of hopium here in the short term. You know, start to break that on the weekly or the monthly, which are closing at the same time on Friday. Can extend those targets down to like 360, 370-ish region, which is pretty big move for this thing. Another 20-ish% move to the downside if that happens. But for right now, give it a chance to bounce. Again, today's event should move markets. So if we start to get some big bounces today, that, makes me, at least a little bit optimistic here for some hopium that these things will hold the line. A lot of these things are kind of in a similar predicament, but again, my opinion on semiconductors in general is that they've topped for a long time here. You're just seeing a lot of the usual suspects arise when you see tops in these things. Extreme volatility on a higher time frame like a monthly, bearish divergence on a monthly time frame, RSI, and this one actually does not have a volume climax here. I think Intel does. Yeah, Intel certainly does, but that'll be kind of like the third horseman, if you will. You want to look at tether dominance? We can look at it. I haven't looked at this in a long time, actually. Whoops, USDT.D. Let's check this one out. Yeah, this one's really interesting to me here. It's, technically it is bullish here, obviously. I mean, you got an uptrend on a weekly and a monthly. That much is obvious. Is it ready to go straight up from here? That's a real question. I would not be surprised to see this test around 9% again, but is it actually going to exceed 9% on a weekly closing basis? I have my doubts. Short term, yeah, I'd be bullish on this. Going into August, I'm not as confident on that, to be honest with you. And there's actually a pretty easy reversal call here too. It's simply just below this month's low at 815. So again, in the short term, I don't think you're going to violate that right now. But if you get into August and you start to trade below that after a short-term rally, something like this, another rejection at 9.25 or whatever, and then come back down, that'd be a really good reversal signal as well, which, should be good for, theoretically should be good for the old corns. Internal combustion unit. Indeed, man. XRen says, hero indeed. SoFi daily weekly. Gotcha, man. SOFI. Okay, SoFi Technologies. Not good. My LARP line's over here, much too optimistic, I think. Weekly time frame does have hidden bearish divergence. I don't know when we looked at this one last. It's probably been a while, because otherwise my LARP line should have been more downside angled. You're already at the bottom side of the range. The real question is, does it actually break below 1493? If it does, okay. Get ready for the next markdown phase to about 11.5, 12 bucks. Until then, should be looking for a bounce off of a level like this. So I really would be waiting for the end of this week. If you close below that, it's an easy call down, very easy call down for another 20 to 30% move. As long as it holds above, still technically a range. And I actually have a little, I would have a little bit of hoping for that happening just based off the quarterly here for right now. But yeah, short term, if it's going to break down this week or next week is the time to do that. And a bi-weekly time frame also has hidden bearish divergence on caretakers RSI. So if there ever was a time between now and August 7th, you'd be expecting that move to emerge to the downside. So see more bounces around that region, then I guess it'll hold and, get ready for some more sideways. I still don't think it's going to be that interesting to the upside in the short term, but that would be a good sign for the long term, I suppose. But yeah, man, hopefully that was helpful. Anyways, Ave 114 possible or even 130? I always love these questions. Is it possible? It is always possible. Is it probable? Maybe not. Can this thing trade back up towards 114 to... yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised to see it have a corrected move to like 120 to 130. Is it possible? Is it probable is a real question. Maybe not so much in the short term, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it move there. Does it retest the lows here first and then pop up, or does it pop up from here? I don't know, but I do think you will get there at some point, and I also think that you'll get rejected there as well. Long term, you already know what I'm saying about this, so I will hold my breath and save you the nails on the chalkboard sounds in my raspy lesbian voice. But yeah, man. Anyways, Jack says, to goon equals addiction to masturbating. Goon cave. Nice. I like the sounds of that. Everyone goon right now. Gooners only or leave. Get the fuck out. Anyways, Encrypted Broker says, please take a look at hype. All right, let's bring this one back. We looked at this one, I believe, on Monday for you. And I think I was erring towards downside overall. But again, until Bitcoin starts moving, I don't think this thing's really going to move as well. Has been one of the stronger ones. Where's my MEXC? Yeah, I mean, it is damn close to taking out last month's low. Damn close, but technically not there just yet. Honestly should have a bounce attempt right here. It really should have a bounce attempt right here. If you see it close below this week's low, even on a daily time frame at this point, which is basically today's low, or sorry, yesterday's low. It's called 53 and I don't know, 80 cents or something. Then I would say this thing's in breakdown mode and get ready for a big old move down to 45 to 46 bucks. But until then, this is really a bouncy area right here. I'm not necessarily bullish on it, but I think that you probably try for a bounce here first. I mean, it's just better to be looking for that off of a major moving average like this. But yeah, the second that you start to come back down below, or sorry, I said 52.80 earlier. The number is 52.60 and close a daily below. That's where I say, okay, no more hopium here. Get ready for the next real markdown. You're looking at another, 15, 20% move to the downside. At least, probably a big bounce around like low 40s, let's say 42 to 43 bucks. Sean Nevin says, it's always possible. It is always possible. It just might be like 0.00001 probability. With Christ, all things are possible. Indeed, indeed. We must all pray together to Lord Bula Jesus. You need a useful amount of ammo for every gun, Krown. Have you got a nuke bunker full of ammo? I'm working on it, actually. I think I have close to 10,000 rounds of 5.56 or 223 RAM. I need to build up, dude. I shot a shotgun for like honestly the first time this past weekend, and it's so much fun. I need to get another one, and I need to get lots more ammo. And then I have probably, I don't know, like a few thousand rounds of 9mm. Other than that, I don't really stock. Oh no, I do have 357 Magnum, but that's just for fun. I've been looking into getting a 300 blackout option. I was looking at the Scar 15, which looks cool, honestly. But do I really want to get into 300 blackout? Like, I hear it's kind of just a meme and also unreliable. Like, I would love to use that as like an under the bed firearm. But at the same time, if it ain't reliable, I mean, shit, why would I replace my DDM Mark 18? Lucas Secord says GMZer Aloy on NAS. Okay, ALOY. Let's look at it. Probably tries a greater bounce from here, but I'm not a humongous fan of it. I mean, obviously the long term is just absolutely god awful, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing bounce over the next sometime in August to like $10 to $11. But kind of expecting a rejection around there. Yeah, the monthly is pretty ugly here. Monthly closing anywhere here or lower is very, very bad coming into August. Any bounce that I would see in August, it would be a sell for me, personally. But yeah, on the short term, if it tries a corrected move, you know, I wouldn't be that surprised. Just I think it's probably a sell. Where would I change my opinion on this thing? Not anytime soon. This one would really need like another month of data. Like if this month closed above $10.50, okay, I think you got like a little bit of hopium there. But for right now, not a humongous fan of this. Also, head and shoulders on the monthly RSI. Those honestly play out more often than the ones that you see on price action. Assy says, how can I justify this purchase that I do not need but absolutely want? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Goddess Club, Hidden Feminine Divergence, Rolf Lamo. Is this what it feels like to be a woman who has a shoe addiction? In which case, I owe Elsa a lot of apologies. Andrew Plus says, Marvel? Sure, man. You're asking if there's going to be a big, decent bounce. Well, let me get up my crystal ball. At some point, sure. Yeah, of course. But is it going to happen from exactly right here? I would be I think that you have a higher probability of a big old bouncy somewhere closer to about 148 to 150. Right now, trading at 168. I think if it was going to have like a real bounce attempt, that should have been last week and this week. And instead, this week, it just failed. So I was definitely wrong on the LARP lines right here. Yeah. If I had to call it, probably somewhere between like low 150 to high 140 is where you get that next bounce attempt from. Obviously, the previous LARP line over here is incorrect. It is bad. It is not accurate. Yeah, man. Anyways, Yarbrook says I have a few 3 and a BO, and they're great. I haven't had any relic. Which ones do you have, and what do you like? It's damn near movie quiet with subs. That's cool. That's super cool. Dude, shooting clay pigeons with a shotgun is option. Yeah, actually, dude, one of the firearm stores that I go to frequently has a like world-class champion, what do they call it again? I don't know, like clay pigeon shooters. It's actually a girl. She's like literally one of the best in the fucking world. She's crazy good. And actually, I think they invited me to go shoot with them hopefully soon. So hopefully can pick her brain and like figure out, how the hell to do that, because that would be an amazing resource to have. Anyways, Chris Fella says, will AI eventually eliminate need for TA skill? Maybe, but I think it's still very far away. I've been training my own AI with it, and at the end of the day, like you still need to be able to create a strategy, and that's going to be difficult. But I think it's very likely possible, or it certainly is possible. It just might be a little bit further away than what I think a lot of people would like. Right now, AI is really, 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 really good at helping with strategy creation and also testing strategies, but it's not necessarily good on its own to come up with stuff that just works. And by the way, if you didn't know, Central Command, actually you can connect now directly to Claude, and you can work with Claude on your strategies there. If you go over here to the agents tab at the top and go to the agents builder, you'll get this option, deploy via LLM. And again, all this shit is free. Like you literally can use an AI trading agent for fucking free. You click it over here. I'm not going to click mine because it reveals some like sensitive data, obviously. But it's super, super easy. All you need to do is just copy and paste 2 fucking lines, and that will allow you to effectively connect your Claude to Central Command, and you can talk directly to Claude, figuring out strategies, backtesting those strategies, and actually getting accurate results in those backtesting. In those backtesting results. And you can also work with Claude, who is a lot smarter. I mean, again, the Fable model is pretty damn good with coming up with like more unique ideas and just hopefully seeing shit that you aren't seeing yourself. But still, at the end of the day, you do, I think, still need to have like a base knowledge of it. I mean, if not for anything else, like you need to actually understand what the hell it's doing. But at this point, it cannot on its own just create a winning strategy. It can help. It can certainly help with optimization. That it is very, very good with. But just starting from scratch on its own, I haven't seen it be able to be done just yet. I do think that that's coming in the future, but it might be like 5 to 10 years away rather than like, next week. Anyways, have you checked out the shotgun I suggested you a while ago? $1,000, you love it and order it. I haven't, man, but I have been looking at this guy right here. I'll show you. I will show you. I am chomping at the bit to get this thing. This guy right here looks fucking insane. It's a 5-inch integrally suppressed semi-auto shotgun that you can FRT, by the way. You can FRT this thing. Crazy, fucking crazy. Yeah, man. Lucas Accord says ACT on TSXK, weekly and monthly. Gotcha. Let's get the exchange proper this time. Okay. Is it breaking structure? Not yet. No. For this one to break structure, you'd actually need to close below the July 13th low of 1673 on a weekly time frame. For right now, it still holds the higher lows, and seeing as you have same highs right here, it's actually still technically in a good area. Now, if I'm using my crystal ball and looking at the monthly time frame, do I think it's going to try some downside? Yeah, I do think so. But look, as long as you're above, especially for like the weekly and the monthly, as long as you're above what is effectively the last price action pivot at 1248, still holds the uptrend. I would say if you really start to violate below about $16, this thing is probably not going to be good. But right here is kind of where you'd expect a higher low to emerge from if it is going to continue to be bullish. So I don't think it's invalidated just yet. Certainly there does look like there is real issues here. I mean, quarterly time frame, which I know you didn't ask for, but I think that this really does help with more long-term analysis. You do have bearish divergence here. And yeah, you've had a nice correction thus far. So if you really take a step lower, really even below this month's low already. I mean, previously I said, I think $14, but sorry, no, 1673. Yeah, if you even take a step below that, I mean, it becomes quite questionable. Do you want to manage off of basically $16 or 1673? That call is up to you. I think probably 1673 is fine in this case. Really should be expecting a bounce off of there if it is going to hold up and not break down in the back half of this year. Yeah. Anyways, why did you pick Claude, sir? Not the other AI. Claude's the one that I have the best experience with myself, but so yeah, that's basically it. I find Claude is really good with data analysis, especially with the Fable model. But yeah, to be fair, I haven't used Gemini that much, and ChatGPT I use a lot, but I use it for different sorts of things. I use it for more like general stuff. For work-related stuff, I use Claude. They all kind of have their own unique perks and whatnot. But I still think Claude is probably, in my opinion, it's still the best. Anyways. Oh, you have the honey badger. Does the honey badger live up to its name, or is it mostly hype? Oh, and a PWS Mark 1. Is the PWS one? Is that a long stroke piston? That could be pretty cool. Let's see. ZPH says ATAI. So I've gotten a lot of comments on ATAI, and ATAI is I think it's a merger name. And I think the buyout price was like $10. Someone said. Again, this is a different thing going on here. TA doesn't necessarily apply as much. But I think someone said like $10. What was the price if it goes through? So look, if I'm just looking at this from a TA perspective, yes, it is bullish, but there's something different going on here. So it should be kind of obvious, seeing as you literally haven't seen a trade on this thing since when? Since basically 16th of July. So what, 2 weeks ago? My point is that you just got to wait until that merger either happens or does not happen. But if it does, yeah, you probably trade up to that number, and ultimately that is, a bullish setup. But the mergers do fall apart quite commonly. Anyways, thoughts on Reddit? Looks okay considering everything is dumping. We can look at it. At least it's from a different sector. And yeah, it certainly does look different. That is absolutely true. I still think that this one has put in a local swing high for this month and comes down, but I'm not necessarily like full on bearish on it. I think that it could easily come down to like 150, for example, or yeah, about 150 and put in a higher low there. I think it's just creating a range here over the past, like what, four to 5 months, 208 highs versus 120 lows. I think you come to the middle of that range at least. Anyways, Lucas Court says last one, Zer, ARE on TSX. Okay. ARE on TSX. Got it. Okay. I know now to always check the exchange whenever I'm reading your comments. I feel really bad about that from a few weeks ago, man. ARE, again, more toppy signals here than not. You do have bearish divergence forming on the monthly time frame. So any sort of a monthly closure here, or especially under $43.50 looks really bad to me, and will validate that bearish divergence playing out. And I'd be looking for at least a move down to like 37.5. That's nearly a 20% move from where you're at right now, and potentially all the way down to like 34, which is a humongous move from where you're at right now. Looking at the quarterly, I think it's probably a top as well. I think, going into the end of the year, you're probably below $40. Yeah. But where does the hopium emerge for this thing? If you finish this month out above 46 and 70 cents, I think there's still some hopium for this creating like a real range and reaccumulating here. But again, must close a month above that number. Other than that, certainly biased towards a downside breakdown here, but I'd still wait for those monthly closures. A lot really rides on those. And realistically, if you're looking at, if you're holding things for, long term, monthly is going to be your bread and butter time frame. So managing before that is usually not the best. PLS on the weekly, are you talking about fucking Pulse Chain? Oh God, there's actually still people who believe in this shit. It is incredible. It is incredible. It's not even on TradingView, man. That's how great it is. Of course, the Pulse Chain people, they can never be convinced. They'll be like, oh, it's a conspiracy that fucking TradingView doesn't want you to own Pulse Chain because they're gatekeeping. It's like, oh my God, yeah, you probably also believe that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk. There's some people that they will be convinced of anything, unfortunately. And now, if you're talking about this, let me know. Let me know if you actually meant PLS on like ASX or whatever the hell this is, like Myanmar Exchange. Richard Hart is dead. He's probably not dead. He probably wants you to believe he's dead because, well, you already know. Let's see. Chief Deadly says SNDK bounce targets after hitting 200 EMA. What time or daily 200? I don't know if there's necessarily bounce targets. I'd probably look for it to get back up to like 1050 to 1100, something like that. But I'd want to see it in real time, man. It needs to hit the target first. Like that really does matter. Does it go for the gap fill at 1200? Maybe, but I'd feel confident saying like 1050 to 1100. It could go for more, I suppose, but that would be a pretty easy snapback rally. My work not looking good, bruv. Hopefully they still keep the employees, right? The PWS is a long stroke piston system. That's cool, man. So it's basically like a AK system in a fucking AR body, I suppose. A few uppers for my PWS SBR. Man, how many fucking firearms do you have? The Diablo MK107. That sounds cool. Honey Badger is very light and super cool looking. Yeah, I've seen a couple in real life. It really did surprise me how small it is. I believe that you are mistaken, Krown, on PLS or on Charlie Kirk's murder. Oh God, I've actually encountered someone who believes that. Incredible. Anyways, to each their own, man. Thank God you're not in a position of power, and thank God probably I'm not either. AR Chales says, greeting Captain, all good, man. How about ELGN stock on the weekly monthly? Okay, this is a new one. I don't think we've ever looked at this. Oh, pharmaceuticals. Okay, so something in the health technology sector, not looking as strong as the rest of them. In fact, if anything, this one's pretty fucking ugly. Hidden bearish divergence of 1, 2, 3 drive variety here on the monthly time frame. If anything, I'm thinking that this thing's coming down, man. I think that this is your next swing high. Short term, over the next, I don't know, few weeks, probably down to like 318, 320. Maybe a small bounce temp there, but I have no reason to believe that this thing is among the winners from the health sector. I had to call. You're probably down around like $2.50. We fast forward into end of year, man. Oh, nothing wrong with Pulse Chain on the contrary. Sure, man. Let's go look. All right, I'll bite. Let's play this game for a moment. Now, where can you even see Pulse Chain nowadays? Do you have to go to Dexderp tools? That's how much hopium you have to invoke in order to even see this thing. Yeah, someone sent me a chart yesterday of Pulse Chain going up 80%. And I'm sure It's definitely up on the year, or I'm sure it's even up on its lifetime, right? Oh, it's not even on DEX tools, on derp tools. Or is it? Hold on, where is it? Is this it? Is this Pulse derp? I don't even know if this is it. Where do you even look at the price for this thing if you actually want to look at it? I'm not sure if this is it or not. It might be, it might not be, but hold on, I'm waiting for it to load. Waiting for it to load. Isn't Hex on TV? I think they probably did listed that one. Yeah, here's your pulse chain. Looks great, bro. Amazing. Yeah, go all in. You will never convince such people. Is Hex on TradingView still? I actually think they might have delisted it a while ago. No, it is still there. Okay, cool. Let's see. No, it's not trading. It's not trading there anymore. This feed goes back to December of 2024. It hasn't been there for like almost 2 years. So let's see. It's probably here. Hex. Is this even it? I don't even know, man. Look, what if like all we can do is just fucking pray for these people. Holy shit, this is pathetic. Actually pathetic. All right, I will bite on this one because I genuinely want to see it. I genuinely want to see it. Like what sort of hopium is keeping these people?
My Angus!
Looks great, bro. Wait, I'm getting a transmission.
Nuclear launch detected.
It's not looking good. Not looking good. I think we're getting close. We're getting close. Okay, this is obviously not it. Okay, I need to turn this off for my fucking mental health. Like, I just like in sincerity. Who was this again? Yeah, Rob One Nook. Just like no judgment at all. I just want to ask. Are you, again, no judgment, like literally no judgment. Are you being serious? Again, no judgment, like no judgment at all. I need to wait for this. Like, I need to know. This is real scientific studying right here. This is what this is. I need to know. I need to know. Lol, that toilet flush needs to be my ringtone. What's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. Down the toilet like Fauci. It is pretty crazy to see all the things come out about Fauci recently. The problem is, like, even despite all of the evidence, you'll never convince the people who champion him of the content. At the end of the day, like, evidence doesn't even matter. People decide things emotionally and then choose whatever the fuck they're going to hear. Like, realistically, it's almost as if there is no reality. People just choose things being off of their emotions. Oh, 100% serious. Okay, fair enough. No judgment. I hope it works out for you. I really do. I really do. I really do. Really do. I mean, he's a true believer. Like, you know, some people join the fucking, you know, what is it? I don't even know. It's funny when I'm running the stream in the background and hear the toilets. Lol. But what about this new shitcoin? That will be the only one, right, guys? That's exactly right. Night. That's exactly right. Don't worry. All shitcoins are shit except for your precise one. So is there bullish divergence on Pulse? There is. And I can also assure you that this will not, I mean, yes, we've had a rally right here. The problem is, look, I can say with 99.99% certainty, you will never get back above this high from August of last year, let alone probably even this high from December of last year, let alone even this high over here from March of this year. Ultimately, this thing will have its popcorn rallies, like you see over here and over here, but they all fail. And if it did, by some act of God, rally all the way up to 17,000, 1,000th of a cent, that would be the most obvious sell of all time. This is a down-only asset, sir. If you want my actual opinion, if you want my actual opinion, but look, like everyone's going to do what they're going to do. I'm not your fucking dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you my opinion, which you can fucking throw in the trash. You know, that's great. At the end of I mean, this is like, if you truly are asking my opinion, I would take all of the money that you have in that and go to Vegas and blow it there instead. Rafael Fernandez says, Crystal Ball Microsoft. Okay. MS, we only do one super chat per super chat, and especially when it's a buck, it's just not fair to other people. As far as Microsoft goes, definitely not the worst here, but this one does have earnings tomorrow, right? Yeah, Microsoft earnings tomorrow. No, Microsoft earnings tonight, and then Amazon and Apple tomorrow. Okay, so probably not going to see it do. It's probably not going to break down until you get to that earnings. But then again, you know, you have Microsoft, which is among one of the best companies of all time. And you got an event today, and then you got earnings as well. So I would keep an open mind with this if I was going to keep an open mind with anything. As long as you're above that green 55 EMA in the monthly time frame, I don't hate it. I don't think it's going to be moving to the upside in any like crazy fashion in the short term here. But, you know, realistically, as long as you hold that line, as long as you hold, let's call it 175 on a monthly closing basis, there is a real opportunity for this thing to bottom out here. It's probably going to take, you know, at least another month of going sideways within this range between like 410 to the upside versus about 360 to the downside. And then perhaps in Q4 of this year, you do try a real move to the upside. This would be a base. So there certainly is hopium here in a way that was not relevant on many of the things that we've seen today. But this is among one of the better ones for sure. 6-month time frame has potential for hidden bullish divergence here, assuming that it just digs in its heels and again does not violate that monthly pivot. You do see lower lows on the 6-month RSI, so this very well could be the low forming, you know, between now and December. So, you know, whether you want to TCA here and realize if it does break down, you're looking at risk down to like $290 to $300, which is, you know, kind of a big move for this thing, 25% or so. Look, I wouldn't hate DCA in here if I really wanted to own this thing. I would not hate DCA in here. Again, understanding that it absolutely can come down to $300 if it does break. But I would also DCA there as well. And I think that would be a damn good place for the next macro high or low. If it got there, that would be super obvious to me. Of course. Anyways, FOMC coming up in 18 minutes here. So things are still holding around their ranges. Bitcoin still fighting off. But yeah, sorry to stress you out. It's all good, man. It's all good. I genuinely just want to know, because like, you know, sometimes people are just joking. Sometimes people are being serious. I try not to like judge people too much in that regard, because ultimately we were all there at one point, and who's to say that I'm right? Anyways, I mean, shit. Like, I'm pretty confident that I want nothing to do with that, and I don't think it's going to do anything significant to the upside in terms of like a long-term trending fashion. But you can certainly have your popcorn rallies. Good luck getting in and out, you know, at the proper times. But those are tradable, you know, if you're really watching it, I guess. But yeah, teach their own, of course. Teach their own, man. Anyways, yes. All right. What else we got, man? That's terrible advice, the Vegas thing. Oh, believe me, if it's between longing fucking hex coin or pulse chain and going to Vegas, choose Vegas every time. At least you'll have a little bit of fun. At least you actually get something for your money spent. You're not going to get shit with derp chains. What's up, James? Good morning to you, man. Google on the weekly and monthly. Yeah, we can do that. Google again. That one is earnings. No, that was earnings last week. Yeah, that was earnings. Yes, that was earnings last week. Honestly, I kind of like it off the 200 simple here on the daily time frame. You know, I don't think it's going to break down really from here. If like in like a appreciable manner, I think it could come down to $300. I think that's a buy though. Personally, I could also see it easily bottoming out where it's already gotten to. Yeah. Again, it's kind of the same thing as Microsoft that we just looked at. Like if I wanted to own this stock for the long term, I would DCA here. And if it comes down to 300, I'd DCA there as well. You know, long term, this is just obviously a much better chart than most things. Now, the people with no money want gold. Okay. It's not a good marketing strategy to court the people with no money. Might not work too well. Anyways, and look, in Vegas, at least you also have fun, but you also get free drinks as well. And if you're very, very lucky, there might be a young lady who follows you back into the elevator. You'll need to pay for that, but assuming that you haven't, busted all your fucking money on Hex, you'll have at least, $50. So that's like, inflation might have fucked that price up, but you know what I mean. Anyways, cool. Dude, I also have a bag from SAC as well. I don't even know where the hell it is or what the hell to do with it, but yeah, it's probably just about worthless now. Cool. All right. Let me just read through a few more of these. Dr. Falsey. Keel on the weekly. We can look at that. KEEL. Gotcha. 6 month kind of resting on an area that you'd be expecting to bounce at. Same thing with the quarterly. Same thing with the weekly. I'd be looking for a bounce to emerge from here. If you really start to see it close below this week's low at 3.25, like a weekly closure below there, I think that you got big problems with the full retrace down to about $2. Until then, this is an uptrend right here. So I'd be looking for it to try to reverse right from here. If that's going to hold true, and if it does break lower, then yeah, like I said, you do have real problems if it closed below this week's low. That's another god-awful move to the downside, like 35 to 40% down to $2 or so. Yeah. I don't really know what you can get for $50 in Vegas anymore. Gold check-in. Yeah, we could look at gold. 40.47 right here. I'm still of the opinion long-term gold almost absolutely has topped. Short-term, like I'd really like to see it test 4,300 or maybe even slightly above 4,300. Kind of hoping that it's going to do it from this move here, because it'd just be way too easy for this thing to break down from here. I mean, this is about as fucking textbook as it gets. So maybe I'm just trying to outsmart this thing, but you got to test the shorts at some point. They're going to ultimately be very, very likely right. But yeah, I would not trade gold right here. If gold traded up to like 43 or 44, that would be an easy trade in my opinion, but not right here. Mr. Fernandez is back. He's looking at Snow, S-N-O-W, Snowflake. Among one of the better charts that we've seen today, for sure. Very interesting here. Again, coming into this month's closure, if it just finishes above 280, I look at that as a damn good signal. This thing wants to take a real leg up into the last, into the next few months, probably into the end of the year, probably somewhere around, 330 to 360. That'd look really, really good. And this one does have a reversal here. High, low, lower high, higher low, higher high, higher low, potentially another higher high right here, at least at those previous highs. That's typically a good sign. If it closes above those highs, I think you're getting ready for a real big breakout. You got some bullish evidence here too on characters RSI that, that's already played out. That was your move from 130 to fucking 280. So, I wouldn't expect that to be the reason why it breaks out from here, but there's a lot more good things going on in this thing than not. If I had to call it, I'm calling up, man. Just need to see that monthly closure. Again, Friday, big day. American 11 Boston. What does that even mean, sir? Daniel says you can get 2 mixed drinks plus a small tip for $50 in Vegas. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God, man. I don't even drink, but that's painful. I actually really don't like alcohol. People always hit me up. They're like, dude, let's grab a drink. It's like, I appreciate the notion, but I actually really despise alcohol. Cool. Do you believe Richard Hart is a scammer, Krown? Okay, is he a scammer or not? So the way that scammer is defined in, at least from the way that I understand it, is that you are deliberately misleading people. The reason why Richard Hart is actually, in my opinion, not a scammer is because he did not deliberately mislead people. He told people exactly what he was going to do. It's just people were fucking silly enough to believe that that was going to work for some reason. He's highly, 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 I think he's highly intelligent and he knows how to manipulate incredibly well. And I think that, but I don't think that he actually deliberately misled people. I think he literally fucking spoke from what I've seen. Look, I haven't listened to all of his fucking videos, so I can't say 100% sure. This is just all opinion. But from what I've seen, he hasn't misled people. He's just laid things out, and then people who knows what the fuck mental issues these people are dealing with, they, for some reason, think that that is good. That's all I have to say about that, man. Again, hopefully I'm wrong for your sake. You know, if you own that thing, look, I got no skin in the game, so who gives a shit what my opinion is? But yeah, man. By the actual, see, I think scammer is like such a term that's lightly thrown around, and it shouldn't be like that. A scammer is someone who is like deliberately misleading. Did he deliberately mislead? From what I understand, no, he didn't. I think he just found, I think that he is incredibly efficient and effective at persuading maybe less knowledgeable people about things. And yeah, and look, that's their, at the end of the day, that's on them. You know, they're supposed to do their own research. I'm a big believer in personal responsibility, and that is on them. That is on them. To be fair, I know that's harsh, and I know that that's, maybe some people take that as like very mean, but it can't be any other way. Because if it's not any other way, then you're always at the whim of someone else, and you have no agency in that at that point. If you have no agency, then, well, you quite literally are just an automaton. Like, you're an NPC at that point. So yeah. Is he manipulating? I don't know if he's manipulating people. I think he just knows the right things to say that mean something to the wrong person. Like, the kind of person who falls for the marketing that he was purporting that's a certain special person, right? The people who are in some way convinced by influencer marketing showing like super expensive clothes and shit like that. Come on, man. Like, really? You know, I think for most people it's obvious, but like, here's the thing. Poor people have a very specific, like, and weird idea of what rich people are like. He was acting like the poor person's idea of a super rich person, you know, just buying fucking designer clothes and all this kind of shit all the time, and like flexing and these sort of things. Like, a real rich person doesn't want to do that. Why? Because you don't want the fucking smoke. You don't want people to see you like that, obviously. I mean, you just make yourself a target. I mean, for fuck's sake, man. Like, there's no real upside in convincing other people that you're rich, unless if you just want to persuade dumb people to think that, oh, I'm rich, therefore I am right. But that's only a certain person who believes that. So, and again, I shouldn't say dumb. They're just like, they just don't know any better. They just don't fucking know any better. So yeah, like that whole hex flex stuff, again, super effective on, you know, the kind of person that believes in that. But I think for most people, like, if you're truly rich, or if you truly want to get rich, you don't want to show everyone else. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, there's a lot of real issues that come with that. I mean, yeah, that much should be obvious. Yeah, started your options 101 the other day, taking it slow. It's hard working 12-hour days, but hey, got to start somewhere. Hell yeah, man. Like I said, I did just update the whole course content. So if you haven't checked it out recently, and also the TA program, there's a lot of updates visually there, especially. And I'll be working on even more with quizzes and whatnot, because I think we can do more there. And like I said, I'm in legacy mode right now, so I just want to make all my free stuff like as good as possible. Yes, I still have my paid stuff, obviously, but still, that's going to be reserved for, you know, just like the 1% of like super nerds who are going to go through I mean, honestly, an oppressively long program. But yeah, yeah, you know, it's you know, like on the Richard Hart topic, you know, like when, if like you call someone, if like you're joking around and you call your friend, oh, dude, you're gay. And then you're just joking around. You didn't even mean it. And then that person is like, no, I'm not gay. I have sex with girls all the time. I promise. I really do. I really do it. Then it kind of makes you think like, who are you trying to prove this to? Like, who are you trying to prove this to? If you know yourself that you're not, then who gives a shit what someone else says? It doesn't affect you. It doesn't change you. It doesn't change your reality. You don't need someone else's opinion to validate your reality. But, you know, for people who are trying to impose their fucking wealth on others, there's almost always a motive behind it. But anyways, the updated options 1-to-1 visuals are great, very smooth. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Why are you in legacy mode? Did you get bad medical news? No, it's just like I don't have anything better to do, and now I have the tools to really make things that I always wanted to make. You know, with Claude Code and everything, I don't need a team, and I never really wanted to work with like a big team. I did that in the past, and honestly, it was way more of a headache than it was ever worth. And, you know, again, I don't want to talk too much shit on these people, but one of them just ended up stealing a shit ton of money from me, like big numbers, you know, 6 digits, like not low 6 digits, by the way, as well, like decent 6 digits. I don't want that risk. And so for me, like you know, ego wise, I want to make the best free stuff because I want to just absolutely blow out of the water all of the paid people's shit. Cause, you know, the competitive side of me sees the other people on YouTube. I'm like, these guys, I wouldn't say that they don't know what they're talking about, or sorry, not that they're deliberately misleading, but I don't think that they're good at what they do, just straight up. So now I feel like I have the tools to make better content that I didn't have before, and it's only going to get better over time. So that's why I want to really fucking invest in that, mostly as an egotistical thing. And also because like you know, at this point, like, making more money is obviously fun. It's like a video game. It's, you know, you feel like you're winning the video game, but it's not intrinsically motivating, if not for anything else, than just buying more firearms, which, I mean, a $5,000 firearm, like, you know, that can be just a week's worth of work pretty easily. Anyways, let's see. Mr. Krown, I invested last year and almost hit the jackpot. The jackpot with what? Could it happen again if you can take a quick look at ALCPB? I guess you mean like you bought this thing and it went up a lot and then you didn't cash out. Okay, so you got one of these. So you basically got a popcorn rally. Can it happen again? Popcorn rallies do happen. Do I think it's really difficult to ride on those? Yeah. Do I think it's a lot more consistent to just pick a long-term uptrending asset and invest in that and let, you know, time compound for you? Absolutely. But hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You know, you can buy this thing and hope for another one of these popcorn rallies, which probably will happen at some time. But what if it goes down another 50% or 70% before it gets a popcorn rally? I mean, it just had one right here. You know, the time between these things seems to be multiple years, so probably not happening anytime soon. I mean, the time between 2021 and 2025 is 4 years, so you might be downtrending for the next, you know, 3-4 years before you get the next popcorn rally. So if you buy here, I mean, you might get out at break even or not even that. I mean, it's very possible. Amin says, I would rather buy GPU compute power than firearms. I'm on that same topic too, man. I have a 5080. Actually, I have 2 computers right now. This one has a 4080, and then the new one that I'm going to set up with my new setup, which I'm so excited about, which is probably going to come this weekend, will have a 5080 in it and about 96 gigs of RAM. So it's overkill upon overkill. The AI cuts your videos unnaturally. Yep, I know. That's why I'm working on it. It's a thing that's going to continually be iterated upon. It just takes time to dial it in. But yeah, I'm totally aware of this. Just is what it is, man. Nova Spark says Claude is an amazing teammate. Yeah, absolutely. I made that iBit to Bitcoin translator and price. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it takes you about 30 minutes of work sipping coffee. Yeah. Yeah, man. Excuse me. Benny Blanco says, hey bro, I'm using your Coinbase link now. Much thanks. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. If they actually pay their fucking retainer, then I can buy some more guns. Again, it's going straight to the firearm fund. Again, if you're just joining in now, Coinbase is now sponsoring these videos. Or sponsoring. No, I'm in a partnership with them. They're not necessarily sponsoring. The affiliate link is right here. It does give you 80% reduction in your spot trading fees. And then there will be, I think it might already be, in fact, a derivatives trading fee reduction as well. It should be somewhere between 10 to 20%. But I'll have to check back on that. I'm guessing it's probably live already. But yeah. And then you can also get $250 in deposit rewards. But, you know, great. Great. I want the fee reduction, honestly. Anyways, I'm honestly, I'm going to tell them, like, can we just get rid of the fucking deposit bonus and just do fee reductions? Like, if we get another like 10% fee reduction, that would be pretty cool. Because look, I get those fee reductions as well, so it's a little bit, I guess, selfish. But hey, But hey, it is what it is. Are you playing GTA 6 when it comes out? Dude, ever since I got Claude Code, that's my video game. That's the thing that I invest like 10 hours in a day in. But I'm sure when it comes out, I'll probably appropriate sometimes. I also want to play Hell Let Loose Vietnam when it comes out. Yeah, man. These sort of things. Yeah, man, firearms always good. Is Riven a buy here? It's been a very long time since we looked at this. I want to guess what it looks like before. I'm guessing it's come down more. Let's see. No, it hasn't. Is it a good buy here? Depends if you accept the risk. I do. Oh, well, you had the easy move up to $20. I wouldn't say it's an obvious buy here for me. I mean, it's not a buy here for me at all because I don't want to own this thing. But would it just be an obvious buy for somebody who wants to invest in it? I don't think so. At least I'm not seeing anything that's super obvious. I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad. It's just, where do you manage your risk on this if you're going to be long here? Well, I guess if you're okay with risk down to 1430, or sorry, 1435, then yeah, you know, that can be a setup. Doesn't mean it's going to work out, but it is a setup nonetheless. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it tag back up to $22, to be fair, but it's certainly not the most obvious trade of all time, in my opinion. Weekly reminder, dumped to $30,000 on a long range setup. Thank you for letting us know. Damn, Bitcoins is pumping, but it's going to 30,000. Oh yeah, we got the event coming up right now. Okay, let's check it out. Is this it?
Can I just?
This is not fucking it.
On the SCP?
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you, you bastard? It's got to be this one right here. Here we go. All right. Hey, what's this? Krown, do you prefer Windows and Mac? Always Windows, man. Always Windows. Appreciate that, Piddle, man. Appreciate it, man. Interest rate. Qashqai sucks. Windows only for gaming. Linux for the win. Yeah, I've heard, like, if you're a real OG, you should get Linux. I'll turn this sound down for now. This is how, you know, that meme of like the head smashed in Mongoloid. This is what I imagine all of these comments are. I have to turn it off. Like, my brain will break. My brain will break. It's bad news, man. Bad news bears. Oh, we got 2 center commands here. Linux Mint for ease of use. Yeah, I hear Linux has more of a learning curve, and I probably am not the right person for that. But we're gonna wait patiently, man. It's only another, what, 25 minutes until the conference call begins, and that's really the main event for today. For right now, Bitcoin's backing off of 64.5 again. You know, for me, the big line in the sand is, again, the mid band here in Reverend Ribbon, 64,500 almost. Let's just say that is going to be it, because it's a nice round even number. As long as Bitcoin's below it, I do have to be bearishly biased in the short and medium term. If Bitcoin can reclaim that today, I will be short-term bullishly biased and looking for moves at least back up to last week's high. And honestly, things probably trade higher in August towards low 70s. That would be very, 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 very likely to start to reclaim that number after just one quick little fake out on yesterday's closure. Very possible right there. But again, you know, until we get this conference call, and again, you got earnings coming out later today as well. So many events these next 2 days that I think hopefully the FOMC gives us like a strong direction right now, so we don't have to really wait for fucking Friday. But I suppose we shall see. Hopefully he gives up something else, you know. Again, one of the biggest takeaways from the last FOMC call with Warsh, his first one, was that they were going to incorporate new forms of data to kind of judge inflation and make their decisions off of. So, you know, do I think that's generally a good thing? Probably yes. I'll turn off the music for now. Once they come on, though, I will have it on full blast, and I'll kind of shut the hell up. Everything is within a software center for a mint. Nice. I have a question. It was expected to be unchanged. Why are markets slightly pumping? Markets just move no matter what, man. It was kind of pumping into that, I think, and then kind of backing off. But realistically, you're not going to, like, the interest rate itself is less important than the conference call afterwards, because generally it's about the forwards outlook, which unfortunately they don't even do anymore. It's kind of funny, but still, you know, people are going to like wait on every little word that Warsh says to get an inkling of where, you know, where things are going in the future. Rules Crypto says it rained a lot yesterday. I don't have to water my plants. It actually rained a couple of nights ago here too. It's like a major storm, man. I think it was a monsoon. It was a good sweet hold music. Yeah, indeed, ma'am. Maybe he meant using Trueflation. Perhaps. From what I understand, Trueflation probably is more accurate. Uva Spark says, hell, my wife's dad installed Linux Mint on his machine and made icons for his banking, YouTube, and a few other things. He loves it. It was not as scary as it used to be. Maybe I should look into it, man. Maybe I should look into it. But for right now, still running Windows. Most of market movement is random walk, as Krown would say. Yeah. Geometric Brownian motion does still reign supreme. You know, realistically, Bitcoin hanging in this region right here between 63 to the downside and 66 to the upside. I mean, it's still kind of meaningless. But I will put personal importance on 64.5. You know, maintains a short-term bias at least. But yeah, I mean, it's basically unchanged, as is the interest rates right now. You know, what was expected happened. So fair enough. Linux is just a little initial work. Fair enough. Fair enough. I wonder, what is the major advantage of using a Linux? From what I understand, it's just like more like customization, but you be the one to let me know. I really haven't looked enough into it. Pleb Benny says, how will BIP 111 soft fork affect price action? Well, all you need to do is just watch fucking price action. It's that simple, man. At the end of the day, man, on this channel, we look at technicals and whatnot. When it comes to those sort of things, I just trust the technicals to show us. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're just looking at an event, interpreting it at face value is, in my opinion, very subjective. Two people can look at that event and have wildly different takeaways from it. I think it's just a guessing game, and you don't really give yourself like an objective way of validating whether you're right or wrong. Thus, you can't actually figure out, was your analysis on the event itself correct? You'll never know. Price will always tell you, though, and technical signals, while imperfect, certainly imperfect, absolutely imperfect, at least give you objective areas of interest to actually manage things off of for the purpose of trading, which is what we're focused on here, of course. And it was just checking in on this. Yep, still not there. Still got another 22 minutes or so. I'm pushing down my gym session today for this one. So Linux, each user and application is sandboxed, more secure. Okay. So, that sounds strange. That sounds strange. Better privacy on some distros. Plus, you don't suffer traffic to Microsoft servers. Yeah, fair enough. That would actually be good. Yeah, I probably should. I'll migrate over there. This is the most important FOMC meeting of our lifetime until the next in September. That is exactly right, sir. That is exactly right. Maybe even Jackson's Hole in August as well. One big thing for Linux is less virus vulnerability. Yeah, that is absolutely something that I am interested in. So I'm going to do more research into that over this weekend and probably switch over this weekend as well. Do you think the IBIT gap at the start of July will get filled? Let's check it out. So the start of July gap was right here, which was at about 34.25, which is probably about $60,000 on Bitcoin. I think it's absolutely possible if Bitcoin continues to remain below the mid-band right here, 64.5 on today's closure. And then more importantly, I would validate that move if you take out yesterday's low, which is 35.48 on IBIT, or I think about 62,600 on Bitcoin spot. But for right now, I don't want to make calls until we get this event. Those are the specific levels that I'm looking at. And until we get validation above or below, probably today on closure, I wouldn't get carried away with looking for that specifically just yet, or at least positioning around it. Again, I got my finger on the trigger over here too with taking some trades today based upon what's actually going to happen, but I'm not taking it just yet, man. It's too close to call right now. If interest rates remain unchanged, why did Bitcoin on 15-minute move up so much? Again, look, these are all games, man. You're looking for reasons on things that ultimately would be better understand. This is all a fucking game. That's all trading and investing is. It's a game. It's a video game. There is no reason. You can never understand what millions of different people are are thinking when they buy and sell an asset. It's meaningless. You'll never fucking know. You'll never fucking know. You're trying to look into something that you'll never, ever, 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 ever know. So there's no point in trying to say, oh, well, it's definitely because they were expecting it and like all of these people agreed that like, no, that's all fucking conjecture bullshit that idiots, you know, typically on mainstream news will spout out, or like some fucking moron on YouTube will pretend that they know what the hell these people are thinking. They'll never know. It's all a lie. It's all a fucking lie. That's why price is pure. It's not perfect, but it's fucking pure at least. You know, trying to decipher, trying to look into the minds of people who don't even really know what the fuck they're doing anyways is an impossible task. It's absolutely impossible. It is a fool's errand. Is that an S26 phone? No, actually, I have a very old one. I haven't updated in years, man. I just haven't felt the need to, honestly. Like, this phone still works great. I guess maybe I'll get a new one on this next year's drop, but if it's still working, I don't really have a reason to do it. Like, I really don't give a shit. The internet is 70 to 80% Linux service. Really? Okay. That being said, a normal user is fine at using Mac or Windows. Okay, I see. Windows has WSL, which allows you to run Linux in Windows. Okay. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple then. All right. That's pretty cool. Jeff Basco says TA101 was a great learning experience for me. Thanks. Opinions or options is beyond my financial means. Thanks for all good, man. Yeah, by the way, if you're just joining, again, the TA101 program, which is 100%, 1,000,000% free, in fact, it's available right here in the link description below. That one just got a bit of a facelift in the past 4 days. So if you haven't checked it out in a little bit of time, I want to check it out. I think the visuals are a lot more slick and professional now, and I'll be working on some more updates going onwards and forwards, as well as the options 101 too. That one also got a facelift here too. But I want to do more quizzes for it. Really want it to actually be a learning experience, you know, not just like go through it passively, but actually learn something. You know, the people who, especially the people who don't have fucking money and they need to learn like some base form, some fundamentals of trading and technical analysis, really want to do something nice for those people. So again, it is there. New phones suck. I wait as long as possible to get a new one. Yeah, I've kind of been of that opinion for the last few years. I mean, obviously, I haven't upgraded for a few years. Just, I don't know. I just feel like such a fucking monkey, like waiting for the next drop. The next drop. My phone, which is 2% faster and literally does all the other things the exact same. Or I'm not going to get any new use out of this. Yeah, man. Tran says, I don't care what Bitcoin does today. I shorted AKE. Let's check it out. See what this one looks like. I don't know if it's a random shitcoin. Ooh. Yeah, don't hate that. Oh my God. Yeah, beautiful short, man. Beautiful short. Bearish divergence on the daily time frame right here. Massive, 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 massive climax. Multiple extremes of volatility right here. That is almost undoubtedly going to be a top. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come down to, God, like another, what, 30, 40%? I mean, it might take some time to get down there, but yeah, I would not be surprised to see this thing come down 35%. Yeah. All right. Phones are all the same. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's been a long time since there's been any real innovation in phones. Don't use Linux on Windows. That's like calling the US Embassy on a KGB phone. Oh, okay. That gravestone doji. Yeah, I mean, technically it's not in there just yet, but I think it's very, very likely. Let's see. Oop, I almost dropped my phone. Let's see. Can I do anything with this? With this informations? Okay. Jesus Christ, man. I have a firearms dealer who calls me when anything new comes in. It's like so, it's so aggressive. Okay, AKE. What even is this thing? A keto coin, a keto derp. Oops. All right. Does this thing even trade? No. Good luck getting in and out of that thing, man. Good luck. I took the options 101, and after I was a little lost and wasn't sure it was for me, fast forward to now, I'm paper trading vertical spreads and doing quite well. Hell yeah, man. I love that. Yeah, man. The best way to do options is go through the foundational content that I laid out there, but then just fucking try it, man. Try it on a paper account. Look, when I was a professional market maker authorized trader, when I was training for that, I was trading a paper account for the first like 3 to 5 months, something that long, like just not real money. And then once I graduated from that, I was trading fucking one lots. But it's the best way to learn. You know, it's the best way to learn. Like, see it in front of your face. Because a lot of things sound easy when you're going through the foundational content, but they're not. And a lot of things sound very complicated when you're going through the foundational content, but they're also not. Yeah, man. Yeah, spreads absolutely paramount when it comes to options. I mean, shit, you could live with spreads for the rest of your life. Like, in all strategies, you know, when you talk about like an iron condor or fucking reverse iron butterfly, it's all some combination or variation of either covers, spreads, strangles, straddles, and collars. Spreads, strangles, straddles, covers. Yeah, those are the 4 foundational ones, and then collar kind of redundant, I guess, but yeah. What are one lots? It's just like one option contract. So if I go over here to the options chain, it would just be, instead of my size being 20, it would be 1. So 1 lot. So this would be a 20 lot is what it's called. That's just the way that they referred to it on the floor of the exchange. You can also just say size equals 1. I don't know. You know, 1 lot is just easier to say, faster. Assie's looking at TAOX. Okay. Tau Synergies. Is this an ETF with fucking Tau? If so, run for the fucking hills. Yeah, obviously I'm going to hate this. I think it's terrible. This is just a long-term shitcoin chart. If I had to call it, I think you're coming back down to these $2 lows and probably lower if you fast forward another year from now. There's absolutely nothing bullish about this thing at all whatsoever, especially as long as you're below 720, and that's more than a 2x from where you're at right now. I mean, these things are just, in my opinion, shit coins on traditional markets, assuming that is what it is. At any rate, package software, again, not a fan of this as a narrative. I think that narrative's played out now. If anything, I think you're just generally going down here. There's no reason for me to believe that there's a reversal or anything like that. I'd be expecting a bounce around like 240 or 250, but you know, bounce, reversal, very different things, obviously. Yeah, the stock, not the crypto. Yeah, daily time frame. I mean, this is just straight up bearish, very bearish on the daily, as long as you're below $4 even. So that's, you know, that's a 20% move from where you're at right now to the upside, just to like potentially flip your trend, which I don't think is going to happen anyways. I mean, look at the long term here. When they show you who they are, believe them. Why didn't it pump with Fed news? God, I don't know how many times I have to explain this, but why didn't it pump with the Fed news? Well, if what is expected to happen happened, what do you think the market's going to do? I'll ask you back in a Socratic fashion. Samsung Galaxy Z Fold are the shit. New one is amazing. I actually had a Z Fold for a while. There were things that I certainly liked about it, but I ended up trashing it, or not trashing it. I just traded it in. We got another 10 minutes. You should put your lessons in text form as well. I'd love to add them to Gemini Notebook. It's a joke, bro. Sorry. Look, I'm half retarded, man. I don't understand sarcasm on the internet, okay? Like, you should know this by now, okay? Half retarded, speech impediment, dyslexic. That's a real issue here, man. Yeah, I actually did Tutukun is what I did is I put like sort of, it's not like a direct translation of the modules, but it is sort of like a general overview with timestamps that you can go through. I don't know if that helps you in that case, but yeah, there is something like that. No one understands Ukraine. I know. It's a difficult life. All right, it's time to eat some sweet potatoes. All right, need to have a little snacky before war starts speaking. Are we there up? Can we look at Shield? Yeah, bring it up. Seems like everything's getting fucking nailed today. Lower high, hidden bearish divergence, down. But I wouldn't count it out just yet. This one's a tale of two boundaries. To the upside above 65, good, bullish. Spec moves back up to like 70 plus. To the downside below 59, very bad. Real breakdown incoming. Probably looking at a big retracement down to like $52. It's a 20% move from where you're at right now, so not great. Back in the day, you could figure out what Bitcoin was doing just by Krown's crazy hair. I know. I was looking at those pictures the other day. I'm like, holy shit. I can't believe Elsa would have sex with me during those times. It's crazy. Insane. Are those the magic mushroom kinds? Well, I'm going to the gym after this, and I have to drive there, so they're actually not magic mushrooms. It's good, man. It's real good. Let's look at 79.74 while we wait. Yeah. I remember we looked at this one like a month ago, and I said, hey, this actually is kind of a good place for a low forming, and I think it is, man. I think this is your low. Or at least I think that you trade further to the north from here, probably up to like 88 to maybe even 9,000. I like this low right here. You got a inverted head and shoulders. You got multiple drives of bullish divergence on Caretaker's RSI. More importantly, I think that you're heading up, yeah, somewhere between 8,500 to as much as maybe 9,200. And this might even be the next macro low. It's very possible. Yeah, I kind of like it here, honestly. Big retracement as well, volatility extremes, and hidden bullish divergence on the monthly time frame. I think you got a big move up here. I'd probably extend those targets, but at least in the next couple months, yeah, something like that, man. Hey, these are really good, by the way. This is free ASMR. Yes, you don't have to pay for this. It's amazing. You back in the US? Yeah, man. I've been here for a while. Yeah, I like what it's doing here, man. Nintendo, I think, at least has a low in and should rally up. It doesn't have the macro low in. I think it's possible, but at least a swing low, so it should trade up, you know, good amount from here. If I had to call it, I think it probably is a macro low. Hey, Krown, does our old friend super bottom or die? Let's see. I always feel compelled to say I love Elliot. I feel bad that I have to be bearish on this thing, but I mean, I can't look at this chart and tell you that I'm bullish on it. Like, obviously. Obviously. So, yeah. We're getting close. 6 minutes. Casting a spell on Bitcoin, yes. BE, we'll look at BE really quick. Kind of in a bouncy place on the daily and nearly on the monthly as well, but I do think you have a top here. Monthly time frame is bearish divergence, so I think whatever bounce you get, if it gets back up to like 230 or maybe even like if it gets up to 230 or 220 or whatever, I'd probably be a seller there personally, but oh yeah. Back to Goblin Town says divergence. Good name. Still waiting patiently. Don't worry, I have all of your ASMR needs. We can also rack the 2011. I love that ASMR. It's fucking smooth as butter. Shady B Shady says, what's your opinion on Bitcoin intraday? Oh, like 15-minute time frame? High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. It's bearish. Does using L3 MBO data like Bookmap actually provide a real edge for finding liquidity sweeps? In my opinion, no. I think all of that shit is bullshit. It doesn't matter. The people who are like truly, the people who are putting in limit orders who don't want you to know what they're doing, because obviously like everyone knows that heat maps exist. They're going to do what's called iceberg orders. They're not going to show their position. They don't even have to show their position, or they don't have to show their order at all. I mean, for the big ones, they also do it just market anyway. So it doesn't matter. And people can delete those those orders with the moment's notice. I mean, it just takes one click. Or in most cases, there's just an algorithm doing it. So all the algorithm has to do is just, you know, it's going to react way faster than you can even recognize. It doesn't matter. It's a phantom in my opinion. Krown, would you rather buy QQ or XOK? Let's look at triple Qs first. I mean, it depends. What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to hold for a long time? I wouldn't buy triple Qs here. No, I think it's coming lower, but I like it long term. XLK, similar thing. These are very similar charts. I wouldn't buy either of them right here. I'd be interested in buying both a little bit lower. I'm personally like technology more than I like technology and finance, so XLK technically better, but at the same time, they're very, very similar charts. What are you eating? These are, this is from Costco, man. Sweet potato fries, sweet potato sticks. I'm having some sticks. Totally straight. What platform is best to read the tape on Bitcoin? Like you mean watching the buys and sells go through? I guess you're asking essentially like what exchange, or do we have one over here on Central Command? Probably not. There's not going to be one here. I don't know. I don't watch the tape like that. I'm not saying that it's not valuable. It certainly can be, but all that shit shows up on the charts anyway. So I figured that's a better way to do it. There used to be like aggregators for that sort of stuff in the like a few years ago that I used. It's fun to look at, but I mean, look, like whether you're looking at the tape or whether you're looking at actual charts, it's telling you the exact same thing. It's telling you the exact same thing. So for me, it's easier to look at a chart than look at the tape. I mean, with the tape, you literally have to be glued to your screen to like watch those buys and sells coming through. When you look at the chart, I mean, the chart is just basically conglomerating all of that, aggregating it, and you see it right there in a candle. Could you look at HYLN? Okay. Hillian, bad. It's bad. Yeah, long term, don't really like it, but short term, do I think it's going to try a bounce kind of between here and $3? Yes. Yeah, I think you're getting ready for a bounce relatively soon around $3 and come back to it after that. But I just don't generally like charts like this. I think this is probably going to, if I had to call it, the bounce probably fails and you come down further. I'm very bearish on this thing as long as you blow 440. So whatever bounce you get, it's like, I don't think it matters that much. Let's see. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. You can see Bitcoin's price in the bottom left-hand side. And then we'll have this stream going on over here. It looks like it should start any minute now. It is 11:29. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We are getting ready. What about PI? What about Pi? Pre-workout time to chug it. Oh, God. What pre-workout do you use? I haven't used those in so long. I mean, I guess coffee is kind of a pre-workout. Krown, what meat is on your menu for today? I had a New York strip for breakfast, and I think for dinner I'll probably actually have some chicken thighs. I kind of realized that I can't actually air rack mine yet. It's not broken in enough. But it's getting, ooh, he's here. All right, we'll get ready. What was I saying earlier? I'm looking. Is there a place to see some of your options positions? I typically just show them on video or on stream. Right now, I'm short the $6,500 call strike expiring next Friday. I don't mind having to cover these again, but for right now, it's showing me that I'm actually losing a little bit of money on those. But yeah, it doesn't really matter until they actually close, obviously. Anyways, here he is.
Good day. My second FOMC committee meeting as chairman has come quickly. It's probably too early to call it a streak, but our discussions again were collegial and constructive. I'm truly lucky to work with colleagues so capable and mission focused, and so determined, like I am, to sharpen the performance of the Federal Reserve. Today, as you know, our committee decided to vote by a 9-3 vote to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5% to 3.75%. The committee is continuing its policy of making ample reserves in the banking system. The economy is showing impressive resilience. Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth. Job gains have kept pace with the workforce, and the unemployment rate has changed little. Inflation remains elevated relative to the committee's 2% goal. The committee remains resolute. You've heard this before, but we will deliver price stability. As before, the policy statement conveys just the facts. It's steering clear of forecasting, a choice we consider especially prudent at these uncertain times. Uncertainty, however, does not mean a lack of clarity. For some households, businesses, and market professionals, 5 years of high inflation have left a mistaken impression that's hard to shake, that the Fed's implicit inflation target was somehow above 2%. Let me reiterate, there is no soft inflation target. There is no soft implicit target, not on this committee's watch. There's only a target, and it's 2%. Not one of my FOMC colleagues is under any illusion. We have begun a new chapter, and we understand that the 5+ years of inflation above target cannot be cured in 9 weeks.
Oh, Mark's not going to like that one.
Or by a single month of modest price decreases. This Fed will not waver. Our credibility rests on performing our duties and delivering on our responsibilities. Americans are right to expect that because our nation's prosperity depends on it. To the regulars here in the press room, today's assessment might sound familiar, yet there was nothing inertial about our discussions, our policy, or our strategy. 2 economic developments are worth highlighting. The first is a very notable change since our last meeting 42 days ago. Nominal and real yields are materially higher across the Treasury curve. In fact, some of the increases in market interest rates between FOMC meetings are among the most significant in the last 2 decades, ranking around the top decile or so. But if the committee didn't change its policy rate, what happened? In the intermeeting period, market attention centered on real data and real economic developments. Prices reacted in real time to incoming information, and the reduction in forward guidance may have been a factor. Market participants are learning to play the ball, not the referee, and market prices will continue to respond in the direction and magnitude they see fit. This is, in my view, a change for the better, and we're just getting started.
That's good.
After all, the central bank need not always and everywhere be the center of attention. I understand the desire for rolling forecasts and commentary from this committee, but for our part, we need to observe market reaction to developments, direct and unfiltered. I want to stress, of course, that decisions by this committee matter a great deal, and where necessary and appropriate, we will not hesitate to act. A second economic development is one that I noted at the congressional oversight hearings this month, but it's worth repeating. The most striking feature of the economy is the strong growth of business investment. The surge in high-tech CapEx has been remarkable, but that does not necessarily make the Fed's role any easier. In the AI-related category of high-tech equipment and software, the most recent data shows 4-quarter growth rates of nearly 20%. This is helping to sustain the healthy momentum of manufacturing output. More generally, CapEx is preparing the ground for future growth. Nonetheless, the precise timing and magnitude of effects on the supply side remain hard to predict. FOMC meetings produce policy decisions, but just as important is candid discussion of the big things that matter most. That too is a priority in this new chapter at the Fed.
Tell us, Warsh.
In our meeting, vigorous discussion centered on 4 questions, which I will enumerate. First, we talked a lot about the implications of the past 5 years of high inflation on the current policy conjuncture. To echo an old phrase, has the past really passed? Second, my colleagues and I considered the economic shocks of recent years, strained supply chains arising from the pandemic, military conflicts, energy supply disruptions, substantial increases in tariff rates, and yes, the surge in AI-related investment. These differ in their sources. Do they also differ in their effects on output and employment? Third, we took up the related question of price increases arising from shocks. The business CapEx boom, for example, is driving up prices of memory and logic chips and associated AI infrastructure. Do these changes indicate a broader inflationary dynamic, or do we just focus on them because they are under the bright streetlight? Finally, we discuss monetary policy tools and strategies for achieving stable prices.
Really isn't giving away too much yet.
If, as the Fed has long held, interest rate policy should be its primary monetary policy instrument. How much accommodation are we getting from the balance sheet? In all of this, our work is advancing at the Fed. We're asking the right questions. And in this consequential time, we know how very much depends on getting the right answers. Of course, you've all arrived with questions of your own, so let's turn to them now.
Yeah, very little during that. Very little. Little positive, little negative, but nothing
Thank you for
conclusive.
taking our questions, Mr. Chairman. Sure. You've had a couple months now, or 9 weeks, or whatever number it is, to see the markets behave in the absence of forward guidance. I'm wondering if you could tell me, what message are you getting from the markets as to where policy ought to be right now?
Yeah, so I think officially it's 8 weeks and 4 days, but I'm not counting. The message from markets is the message from markets.
I kind of like them.
What I've really been trying to do, Steve, as I think you appreciate, your colleagues appreciate, is getting an unfiltered message from markets, getting a direct message. Letting buyers and sellers meet at prices for treasuries, for the foreign exchange value of the dollar, and then trying to judge for ourselves, what does that mean about our remit? How are we doing on inflation? How are we doing on employment? We're trying not to interfere with that market signal. That's part of the reason why we've been somewhat spare in our words, why we pulled back from forward guidance. So they're reacting to events, I would say, much more directly over the 42 days since we last met. This is
Indeed,
a good
Bitcoin
thing.
capital.
As I mentioned in the prepared remarks, we've seen a material tightening, not just in nominal rates, but in real rates too. And we're observing it. We're trying to stay out of that because many of you might be interested in our reaction function. We're interested in the reaction of financial markets.
I
okay.
get that, Mr. Chairman. And I guess the follow-up question is, if the markets are talking to you, what do you hear them saying?
I
And
see
if
dead
its
people.
real rates are higher, it would suggest that that's where the funds rate ought to go.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I'm sorry, it's your question. So interpreting markets is an imperfect business. We central bankers like market pros can think these things are overdetermined, but let me offer some speculation. First, as we said in the FOMC statement that you got at 2 o'clock, the economy output is solid. CapEx and productivity are strong. Labor market's solid, steady. The bond market, the treasury market, it seems to be saying that as well.
Bitcoin at
If I were
64,
to try to break down,
184.
disaggregate the treasury market signals, I wouldn't be able to do it perfectly. But the bond market's saying many of those same things, and that's why we're seeing a tightening both in nominals and in reals. Even while at some level we haven't done much in 42 days, the markets have done quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a master at giving nothing away.
Claire Jones, Financial Times.
Oh,
you seem
God.
to have got the family fight you were after at this meeting. We saw three dissents.
These ones are the
Could you
worst.
characterize the arguments that those dissenters put forward, please? And
Insufferable.
tell us a little bit why you weren't persuaded.
But actually
by
not the
them at
worst
this
question.
stage. Thank you.
So I guess I shouldn't give you their best arguments. I'll give you some others. So you're right. I asked for a good family fight and I got one. That's the purpose. That's the design feature. I come into this meeting, even this press conference, heartened by what I've experienced the last 2 days. Most of our discussion were on the big questions that matter to the conduct of monetary policy. We didn't sort of hide from them. We weren't scared of them. There was a lot more interaction between and among my colleagues. It was a real family fight. My view, which you've long heard, is that's the better way to get policy right. That's our North Star. So there was a lot of agreement that I heard that we have the powers, the tools, also the authority to deliver stable prices. No walking back from our responsibilities. There was a large majority support for the decision that we made in the room. But I also want to leave you, Claire, with one other impression. There was nothing inertial about that discussion. It was an active, robust discussion about what's in the full range of what we can do and might want to do in the period ahead.
He's not giving any specifics
You
away.
characterized accurately. There was a disagreement about a decision today.
Okay.
I would say that doesn't sort of capture the full essence of the discussion. The path to central bank heaven requires delivering on our remit. These days, that means delivering on price stability. I wouldn't measure that path in 42 days or any one particular meeting. And I came out of that meeting even more confident that this is the right team to win the battle against high inflation.
Hell yeah.
How much do you think not going in July was down to the cool CPI print for June?
So in 2 words, not much. Not much.
Okay. A little bit away there.
I'd like to believe that the committee shares my views, which is
Agreed.
the historic problem with data dependence is the data and the dependence. We are not relying on any one individual piece of data as cover or as an excuse or as validation. What I care about and what I think the committee cares about is trends on the data. Sure, we got some encouraging inflation data. I think at the meeting 42 days ago, I said something like 63 months of inflation above target. I didn't say 64, though the final calculation might be a close one. So we'll be watching inflation data over the period ahead. But I also don't want you to leave the misimpression that we're sort of breathlessly waiting that. I've called for a task force to revisit both the private and public data we use to make our decision making. That task force is out doing their work. I'll be checking back in with them the next couple of weeks, but I wouldn't say we overly relied on any one piece of data, including that data which surprised some a couple of weeks ago.
Hi, Chairman Warsh. Thanks. Neil Irwin with Axios. Thank you for taking our questions. So the Fed funds rate is now about 75 basis points below the 2-year yield. Suggests markets think you'll have to tighten eventually, about 100 basis points below most Taylor rule estimates. You're hitting your employment mandate, inflation stays high. Why should rates not be higher today?
There's a lot in there, Neil. So rates are higher today than they were 42 days ago. Markets have made decisions because we step back in
He
part
actually
from
really does
trying
understand
to
things well.
influence those.
He's right. The bond market is doing it for him.
Judgments have moved up on what nominal rates are across the Treasury curve.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we take them as by dictation, but we're observing them. So I think it's a mischaracterization to say that markets haven't reacted because we didn't move today. Markets are reacting in real time. In the period ahead, we've got important decisions to make about the policy rate. Markets in the intervening period, I think, have quite a bit of decisions to make. I'll see if I can put it this way. Monetary policy matters not just by what we say or even what we do. Monetary policy matters by how it affects the real economy. And these prices that we see in financial markets is one of the many ways in which it affects the real economy. We'll be continuing to watch that market information.
He'd be a
see how
great
it responds to incoming events.
surgeon
and that can help inform our
delivering
decision-making
terrible
when we meet in
news.
7 or 8 weeks.
How would you
Oh, sir, it seems
characterize
like you
of
have
the
terminal
family fight the last
cancer,
couple of
and
days
you only have 30
of
days
you
to
and the other
live,
8 members
and the
who
data
wanted to
says
hold?
you're fucked.
Was that a strong conviction, or was that a hair trigger close call on holding versus tightening?
Well, I think the vote was 9-3. The broader discussion to my ear over the course of the last days showed a lot of agreement on the hard questions.
That was a really
4
good question
questions I
from the
raised at
reporter.
the
But he's
outset
just a master at giving nothing
about
away.
What's really happening in the economy with the shocks and absent the shocks? What are our tools and our capabilities?
He comes from like the Kamala Harris
What's
school
the
of
effect
waffling.
on prices on output? I heard a lot of commonality on the questions. Were
But
there
I will say
different
that last
leans
question
on the
was really good.
answers? You bet there was. So could people come to different conclusions? Absolutely. But my own judgment is this is a period of watchful thinking, not watchful waiting. And I think the score on that vote was unanimous.
Okay. It's a little bit there.
Thank you, Colby Smith with the New York Times. You've mentioned that looking at the Fed's policy tools is one element of a 3-pronged strategy to address
Something
the
about
inflation
racism.
problem. So I'm curious how you view the effectiveness of those tools. If inflation is too high and not coming down, is the best remedy to raise interest rates?
So that was the discussion in the last 2 days. Is that
kind of fucking
the
question is that?
dominant remedy?
That's their only tool.
If inflation continues to be elevated through the forecast period, interest rates could well be part of that solution. But I wouldn't say it's in isolation. I tried to describe in my remarks today a point that I made into the oversight committees a couple of weeks ago. I think there was a misimpression by some in financial markets, by some households and businesses, that central bankers
Tell
like
us
me,
how
we
it's
set
done,
a
Ben's
2%
chair.
inflation target, but maybe we were more tolerable of a somewhat higher inflation target. In economics, we'd call that the revealed preference. And so might it have been rational for people to think, well, their inflation target's somewhat higher. What I heard in the last 2 days, what I've heard in 8.5 weeks is no. We will deliver the 2% inflation target. That is the committee's definition of price stability. So one way,
It's giving away a little bit there too.
absent the tools that you reference, to ensure that we get there is ensure that expectations are centered around the right number. And I think we made some progress on that. I am not suggesting we're done on that.
Yeah, I think
It's
that was
worth
one of the big things is
reiterating.
people were expecting
And
the
ultimately, the business we're in, Colby,
like the
is
baseline
performance.
inflation rate to
We are
be
gonna judged
3%
by how
rather
we
than 2%.
perform.
But he's confirming no, it's going to continue to be
And that's what we
2%.
intend to do. The inflation target, making clear expectations is one part of it. Making sure we demonstrate
That was
we're
probably the biggest signal in this
responsible
whole
for it, we're not
fucking
blaming as another.
talk here so
And our
far.
policy tools, like you referenced,
So
is
they
the
will
third and,
they will try to
equally
get
consequential
inflation
part.
CPI down to 2%.
How are you factoring the fact that a large portion of the inflation overshoot is being caused by supply shocks, as it's mentioned again in the statement? Does that blunt the effectiveness of rate hikes in your view?
First, on the premise of your question, it was almost as if you were listening to our discussion in the last day and a half. A lot of our focus was on trying to understand and identify underlying inflation dynamics amid shocks. We take these shocks seriously. There have been a series of them that have been hitting this economy. We're not looking through them and saying, oh, they don't matter. But we're trying to understand is to what extent are these shocks broadening in their effects, broadening in their impact on prices that are quite far removed from it. Our goal is to have growth that is broadening and inflation that is becoming more limited, more circumscribed. I'll be the first to admit the shocks make this job and this policy
Well, I'm sure that they'll
conjuncture
stick with the
a little
2%
tougher.
target, but they
But
could
that's among the
incorporate
chief
new forms of
questions
data
we've
that
asked
shows them
ourselves.
2%
And around
has
the
already
room,
been
people
hit.
have different views on it.
I think that's
I tend
the
to
route
think over the
forward.
coming
They don't want to
months,
change
we're
the
gonna
actual target.
refine
That'll
that
destroy
view and
confidence.
have a better judgment.
To bring it from 2 to
And we're
2%
gonna
to
market
3%, that's a humongous
prices
change. It's
trying to
30%
help
bigger.
inform it too.
So using different forms of data in order to get yourself down to 2%, maybe artificially, who knows?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That
Edward Lawrence
seems
from
like
Fox
that's going to be the
Business.
real play.
I guess I want to drill down maybe a little bit. What
Market's liking it right now, though.
in your mind would be the argument then for a pause today?
So I wouldn't
64-4.
characterize what we did as anything like a pause. I would characterize what we did as
It's a hold.
a rigorous review of the economic situation. I would characterize what we did as a review of the big hard questions, and I'd characterize it as a view of what our own homework is to try to resolve those questions in the period ahead. If you were to try to force a description that this was a pause, I would say financial market prices would take the other side of that. Financial market prices in this intermeeting period, they didn't pause, they reacted to the inflation data in one direction, strong economic growth in the other direction, and nominal and real rates went up. Did the Fed take an explicit change in its policy rate today? No, but I think that's the beginning of the story, not the end of the story.
And if I could, I did want to ask, not forward guidance, but looking forward. Traditionally, a Federal Reserve chairman uses the Jackson Hole Summit as a sort of a reset of monetary policy. Well, how do you look at the speech that you're going to make in August?
I look at it like a blank piece of paper right now. I have not begun consideration with the incredible team here what would go into that
that was the most bullish
document.
thing he said.
I think you've characterized it correctly. Historically, at least from my first tour of duty at the Fed to more recent periods, it would be sort of a setting up speech more often than not of what was going to be happening in the fall. I haven't made any judgments on that, but those are judgments we'll have to come to. If I could, in the high mountain air in Jackson, Wyoming, I'd like to also frame
Market's starting
the
to
big
like
questions.
this.
There is a tendency, especially with the proliferation of meetings and press conferences, to get caught up in the myopic. Did you do this by a quarter or do that? Ultimately, whether we deliver on price stability matters some, the decisions we make in 6 or 7 or 8 week periods. But they matter more, what are the big questions?
Looking better.
What's really happening with productivity? What's really happening with demographics? What's really happening to the global economy amid the shocks? Haven't made a decision whether it's going to be a big picture speech or whether it's going to be a more traditional setup for all the action we're going to have between September and December. I will tell you one other thing that I am doing between now and Jackson Hole, which is I'm checking with those task forces. My first principle of establishing a task force
Indeed, Krown.
is find the best subject matter experts anywhere in the world and put them together, especially put them together with other people who might disagree with them. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a check back in. I've given them time to sort of think hard about their agenda, their debate, their schedule, and when they might be ready for prime time. I'll be doing a little bit of that checking, and that may or may not inform anything I have to say in Jackson.
It was 9-3 hold versus raise.
Nick Temeros of the Wall Street Journal. Chairman Warsh, I want to follow up on Colby's question about policy transmission. You've said there's no cruel choice between stable prices and full employment. Rates bring inflation down by cooling demand. It's generally thought that can show up in the labor market. If that's not the channel you're relying on, what is?
Yeah, so let me go back to first principles, Nick. I don't believe that either part of our mandate is generally at war with the other part. I do not believe that price stability and full employment is an either-or proposition. There have been policymakers over the last several generations who have thought that there is a strict trade-off there. That isn't my judgment. In fact, my judgment is if and when we deliver on our remit, we're going to be satisfying both prongs. We're going to have price stability and full employment. And in fact, if you want to do the most harm to the labor markets, you would run a period of high inflation that's variable such that employers, businesses, wouldn't really know what's going on. So I think the two parts of our mandate are equally important. We have no legislative orphans here. I've been talking mostly about price stability because we're doing pretty well collectively as a country, as policymakers on the full employment side. But we're doing considerably less well on prices. That's why we describe them as elevated, and that's what's taken most of our discussion. In terms of transmission mechanisms of monetary policy, I think different tools work through different transmission mechanisms. The interest rates work through lending channels and credit channels, maybe confidence channels and foreign exchange. The balance sheet probably works through some other channels like signaling and portfolio balance. We're keeping full abreast of all these tools in making policy. But if the suggestion is somehow we're going to be fine-tuning aggregate demand so it catches supply, that's not my mental model. I don't think we're great in the fine-tuning business. We're trying to get supply and demand in broad order, but really what we're doing as we sit here today at this press conference is I think we've got a reasonable sense of what aggregate demand looks like in this economy. We're inferring aggregate supply. We're making a judgment about what productivity is. And in some sense, there's a race between supply and demand. And the surge in business CapEx in around AI, it's making that calculation a little harder to judge, but in the period ahead, we're going to be trying to judge just that.
And if I could ask, where exactly was the disagreement today? Was it about the inflation forecast?
He's already
or
fucking
was it
answered
something
this.
more around the risks, the tactics?
Yeah, so I'm going to I'll let the dissenters speak for themselves. The way I heard it over the last 2 days was overwhelming agreement on objectives and authority and commitment. I didn't hear anybody walking away from it. The judgments as to how best to achieve the price stability, that was probably the question that we were trying to answer. What's the best move? What's the best strategy?
These reporters are so
what's the best way to achieve
insufferable. Like they
and a second
have
question that
no
was asked is,
capability to think
when
for
do we need
themselves.
to
They
make
ask
those
questions that have
harder
already been
calls?
answered
When
instead
do
of
we
like
need to
trying to
make
find
those
something new and
decisions?
unique.
And like I said to one of your colleagues, I was comforted that
I don't think we hate the mainstream media enough.
Period weren't reacting to us. They weren't reacting to dots or to speeches. They appeared more than ever to be reacting to real-time events. So they're gauging themselves how restrictive the Treasury curve should be. And that, I think, has been a useful development. We don't
Indeed,
endorse
Nova.
any particular
Indeed.
market move, but I'd also suggest we observe them with keen interest.
They just have no
Janelle
fucking
Marte with
capability to think for
Bloomberg.
themselves. Like
Following
it's
up on
actually
that,
insane.
There was more uncertainty in the markets about what the Fed would do at this meeting. To some extent, you might think that's what you want to see.
Look
but
at this
my
guy's
question
computer.
is about, is there a point at which
We need
you
more
would not want to
representation
surprise
for
the markets
gay
if they were
finance.
pricing in something with higher certainty that was opposite of what you were intending to do? What are the risks that you see associated
I don't feel
with
very
that?
included at this
Yeah,
moment.
So it's a good question. Surprise is not the objective function. Surprise is not what we're solving for. We have a clear North Star. What we're solving for is how to make the best decisions. Almost everything else should be in service to that goal. By not spoon-feeding markets, by not previewing our decisions, by not sort of giving nudges and leans, my colleagues and I have found in the intermeeting period, what we're getting is the views from a very accomplished economist. That's the internals of financial markets.
We're all a little bit gay, aren't we?
Repeating
I did get a
or
2011.
echoing what we were saying back to us, they're giving us somewhat, not perfect, their own judgment. Surprises are not the objective, but at the same time, I would say we didn't come into this meeting feeling constrained by the full range of alternatives we had in front of us.
So some of your peers have continued to discuss how they think about policy decisions, and if you don't offer your reaction function or your way of thinking about it, how concerned are you that you're ceding control of the narrative?
So not very concerned. That's a short answer to the question. When some people that follow the Fed say, well, we don't want your forecast. We don't want your dot. We just want your reaction function. Part of me hears what we really want is your forecast. And what we really want is your dot. Look out, faggot! In terms of reaction function, let me sort of disabuse people of a question that may or may not be real and be out there. Any central banker, especially a central banker where the labor markets are more or less at equilibrium. Any central banker, when he or she sees underlying inflation moving higher, he or she is more inclined to tighten policy. Again, when you've achieved the other side of your mandate and you see underlying inflation falling, he's more inclined to loosen policy. That's my reaction
Exactly,
function, and I don't suspect it will.
They're reporters. They're not actually interested in the content themselves. They have no.
The truth
they
is,
probably
for
don't
a
even know what
very
the
long
fuck they're
time,
even
in a lot
asking.
of countries, coming out
Like
of the
some
2008
idiot in the
crisis,
back room
we're
wrote
in
them a
crisis
question
mode. We were
to ask, and
purposefully
they absolutely cannot
providing
deviate
a
from
lot
that.
of information.
So you get
trying
like
to provide
fucking
a
10
lot of
versions of the same
assurance, trying
goddamn
to tell
question.
people exactly what we're going to do.
Like he's already been speaking for half an hour.
Offering
They
forward
wasted
guidance
maybe 20
with
minutes of that half
clarity
an
as if
hour.
we're tying our own hands behind our back. Well, in crisis mode, that strikes me as a very prudent policy. But in more benign conditions, it strikes me as worth revisiting. But markets and market participants and reporters have learned to devour all that information, so I take seriously that the pullback of forward guidance requires some transition. Reform isn't easy, but our general judgment is going to help us make better decisions, and in so doing, satisfy our remit.
Paul Weissman. It's coming. There's a mic coming.
Thank you. When you talk about the 2% inflation target, what measure are you relying on?
Yeah, so I'll give two answers. First, let me give the proper standard answer. The Federal Reserve every January outlines a statement of purposes and strategy. And in that strategy document, which I believe was dated January of this year, it describes a measure of PCE inflation as the objective function there. I have enough of my own, so that's our number, we're sticking with it. Who knows come after next January what we might say about strategy. I suspect the task forces might have something to add. But I'll say this, some version of the Lucas critique, some version of Goodhart's law in economics should remind us that when we talk about measures of inflation or something else, and we describe those measures as being consistent with our objectives, we might make them such that they're not very good measures or very good objectives. Broadly, if you said to me standing in front of you, I abide fully by the strategy document, we're going to deliver 2% inflation and not a whisper more. But to achieve that, I'm looking at a broader set of inflation data than PCE. So without sort of fully revealing my cards,
Of course.
I'm trying to understand, like my colleagues, what's the underlying generalized change in prices that are happening in the economy. It is not a perfect science. I might have said 42 days ago, I've got a task force for that. But we have a data project that's trying to look and see whether we can't separate the noise from the signal. And so if you would hear a message from me, yes, I care about what the PCE prints are. I care about what the contributions are from CPI and everything else. But my lens is broader than that, even though the remit is quite narrow.
Mike McKee.
Better be good. It's not going to be on much
Michael
longer.
McKee from Bloomberg Radio and Television. I'm struggling a little bit with some of what you've said today, and maybe you can help clarify this. You've said over and over again that your job is to bring down prices, to get prices stable, to hit your target, and that you will hit your target. The market says you're not there yet because they've raised rates, but all you've talked about today is talking about it. And it's not like members of the committee weren't there before you talking about it. So I guess what the American people might be asking is, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. So
Okay.
believe it or not,
Decent.
this press conference is not all I've done today. We have spent an inordinate amount of time in the last 2 days, 2 weeks, looking at our monetary policy strategy, evaluating our tools, thinking
the
hard
soundbite again.
about the sources of data that we have at our disposal and we wish we had. We've also thought hard about the period ahead. What among these questions will be answered with more clarity, certainly not certainty? So the decision we made today, the discussion we had in that room, was the farthest thing from inertia I can imagine. As a point estimate at this very moment, in a choice between two alternatives, you heard the results of it. but I would tell you that this discussion was far more robust, and our thinking about how best to achieve that target is advanced. And over the coming months, I expect it to be advanced much more significantly. If you were to if I were to steal a follow-up question, I won't let you won't be giving it up. If I were to steal a follow-up question, well, what's the world think about what you've done? I would again reiterate, what we do isn't just about what we say. It's not just about what we do. We're in the performance business. And so if I look at the Treasury curve,
yeah, I agree. It was a good question. He's just not going to give anything away.
A lot of things that are internals inside of financial markets. I think what they're broadly saying is that this committee does own it, has the credibility to deliver it, and they believe, like I do, that we will. But I don't want to leave you with a misimpression. We've got no magic wand. This isn't something that we're going to be able to carry out in days or weeks.
Market comes back down to its lows.
But we're going to deliver on the responsibility that Congress gave us. And today's meeting and the preparation for today's meeting was an important step towards that destination.
I'd like to follow up on the task forces as well and ask, what vetting did you do of the people that you appointed to the task forces? In particular, given Mark Andreessen's substantial political spending, $25 million in just the past year to back candidates who oppose stricter AI regulation, how can the public be confident that a committee he co-chairs will provide an independent assessment of AI's economic effects rather than one aligned with the interests of the AI industry?
Yeah, so I selected 15 incredible subject matter experts to tackle 5 of the most important questions that if we get the answers right, we're going to do a far better job in delivering. And if we get the answers wrong, we have a problem. The comfort that I can give you and your listeners is we're the decision makers. The chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve and the members of the board and the FOMC, we will be the consumers of the outputs from 5 different committees. The judgments we're making will be informed by, but not at all determined by, these outside groups. My theory of the case in establishing the task forces were to pick people with extraordinary talent, depth of expertise, and a divergence of views inside every committee, so they too can have a family fight. This is not outsourcing to people that aren't known and haven't been vetted. This is seeing whether new ideas can catalyze a broader, better, more informed discussion inside the room. And I'm very confident that we're going to be able to do that. I am impressed by the credentials of these 15 people. And full disclosure, I've known almost all of them for a very long time. And I think
just
they're
consult fucking non-experts about it.
On the subject.
We should consult some actors.
We're going to make, and
they
we're
have good
accountable
opinions
to our oversight committees and to the remit Congress gave us to deliver.
Hi, Ann Saphir with Reuters. Nice to see you again. So I need a little help here too. You've said repeatedly you have no tolerance for inflation, and yet we are seeing above target inflation repeatedly for 5 years and through your term so far. And sure, you have no magic wand, but you have not taken action. You just gave us a little peek at your reaction function as well. You said that if underlying inflation is rising, that you would tend to
the witches are bullish.
Think that you might need to tighten. And with the exception of the most recent inflation print, that is what we've been seeing. So could you explain what you mean by no tolerance for inflation and what you plan to do about it?
Sure. So, Ann, I hear from you what I hear more
broadly
from
it's only the third time that we've heard this
businesses.
question.
Impatience. Deliver it already. This is not an excuse. This is a fact. This FOMC, this board has been in business for 8.5 weeks. The patience, the impatience that households and businesses feel have been going on for 63 months. We are on the job. We will deliver we are focused like a laser on making sure we can do it. But the suggestion that we're going to be able to do it with our magic wand is one I want to disabuse you and everyone else of. But the discussion in the last 2 days give me more confidence even than I had 8.5 weeks ago. This team that we have at the FOMC, the support that we have from board staff, and the new hard questions we're asking, we need to resolve those. And as we resolve those questions, get smarter on those, we're going to deliver on the remit. You don't have to take my word for it. If you look broadly at market prices, they are certainly not saying all clear, but they are working in concert to keep us on our toes, and they have tightened financial conditions in this intra-meeting period, and that has given us, that has provided us some comfort that we've got the ability and capability to deliver.
And is your read or your, I guess, faith in markets' ability to sort of make a judgment and then you to take signal from that judgment, is that, how does that
talking about the bond market
affect you when you come up on the September meeting and markets
oh my fucking God.
are
Lady,
seeing
seriously.
a near 100% chance of a rate hike?
It's so fucking painful.
How does that
it's
feed
so
into
painful.
your decision making and your thinking?
So we're not going to be constrained by market prices. We're not going to be constrained or take verbatim from what the market's doing. But I think it's useful and to understand that markets can be a very good source of information. Not a determinative source, not a perfect source, but if we're trying to land the plane and deliver 2% inflation, and we take a very useful source of information and we get it all fogged up by giving it our own forecasts, by providing rolling commentary, I can assure you that we're going to have less information, less ability to land the plane successfully and deliver price stability. We're just trying to make sure that that source of information is as direct and unfiltered as possible. It isn't to the exclusion of data sources and opinions and other surveys, but if you're hearing from me, we wanted to make sure we were getting a better source of information. I think in a relatively short time we are.
We'll go to Brian Chung for the last question.
Hi there, Chairman Warsh. Brian Chung with NBC News. So you said you'd be open to having press conferences when there's news to make. So today, no change to rates, no forward guidance. For the average household, I guess, what was the news today?
So apparently it was news that I had a press conference.
Dude, seriously.
Let me just see if I can offer some clarity on that. Between now and year end, my predecessors and the Federal Reserve committed to press conferences this year. I'm committing to press conferences this year. That might be news to the people in this room and of no particular interest to your viewers and your readers back at home. What I can offer as assurance is that the Fed's on the case, that this Fed chairman feels better about this board and this committee's ability to deliver than I did when I showed up here on the first day, and I showed up pretty confident. I've been heartened by the reception that I received. No doubt in some of your commentaries today, you'll talk about a divided Federal Reserve. Well, that's not the feeling I felt the last couple of days and the couple of days before it. What I felt was a group of professionals, all with different perspectives, different views, different judgments, but eager to roll up their sleeves and have a family fight, and eager to reform the way in which the Fed does policy, a keenness and open-mindedness and curiosity about that, so we have a far better chance to deliver on the remit that Congress gave us. And so I want to leave you with the optimism of a new central banker that we're committed as ever to deliver and to offer an assurance we will. Thank you all very much.
And the mic drops. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, he is the neutral politician from Futurama, that is for sure. Just looking at a little bit of Bitcoins right here. Turn that off. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin really hasn't moved at all throughout this whole thing. If we go look at SPX, let's see what they've done. same thing. Still holding the lows here. Like, I'm not bearish on SPX here. I'm not bearish on SPX. It's still so clear to confirm what an actual breakdown would look like. It needs to close below 73.80 on a daily. And all you see is just wick, 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 wick. Okay, fine. As far as Bitcoin goes, let's see. Rev Ribbon's still coming in at 64,500, but that is for CME. So there's a small premium over spot price action for CME. It's trading at 64,665 right now. So what, about a $200 premium, $200 to $300 premium. You got a little under 2 hours left to go in the trading day for CME before it closes. If it reclaims the mid-band, I will have a short-term bullish bias again. Until then, I mean, it's a long day left, but I don't know, man. I'm looking at the lower term timeframes right now. You got a higher low right there. You got same highs right here. Starting to flip around a little bit. That is just an hourly after all, and ultimately it's the daily that actually means something, but really didn't get much from that talk. What was expected happened as far as the reporter's questions. She's basically just spat back out the same thing from the first conference, which was data, 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 derp, derp, derp. If I had to put my crystal ball tinfoil hat into it, it seems to me that no, they are not going to change the 2% inflation target, because that was a big thing that almost all of the fucking influencers were saying over the past 5 years since 2021, is that 3% will be the new 2%, because 2% was the inflation target and now it's just untenable, so we can't get it down that much, and so it must be 3%. He is disconfirming that. He is saying, no, it remains 2%, absolutely. However, what's interesting to me about that, again, pulls back to the one fucking line that stood out from his first conference, which was simply this. It was something along the lines of, we are going to incorporate new forms of data into our calculations. So it's not that the inflation target is going to change. That will remain the same. I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that he's lying about that or not playing it straight on that. But if they incorporate new forms of data, they can get that they can get inflation down by calculating it differently. So I think that's going to be the play here. And that's not going to happen this month. Maybe usually, okay. So usually during the August meeting, this Jackson Hole meeting, and as one of the reporters said, that's usually the time where they do announce something different-ish. Maybe that could be where it comes out. Possible, still kind of aligns with what we've been speaking about here on this channel. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, as far as conference calls goes, that was not interesting. Like, not all. So basically 3% is a new 2%. Got it. Wait, what? Wait, what's up? You said something about 3% being 2% and not 2% being 3%, or 3% being 3% and 2% being 2%. Maybe we're all just confused. Anyways, yeah, gold finally getting the bounce. Like I said, I don't like gold falling through the cracks right here. I think it rallies first and then comes down. But it is interesting to me to see the gold is the first one to take a leg up, or take a leg up. It's the first one to rally here. It's bullishly engulfing yesterday's dildo. So assuming that it closes anything like this, I do think you will get a breakout up to at least 42.25 region. And honestly, I still think this one is probably going to rally a little bit north of 4,300. That's just your last 6-month open right here. It has not been tested. It is obvious to me. This is obviously bearish, but God, man, it's probably going to rally up another couple $100 at least. And then if things want to come down, they probably come down from there. But as far as Bitcoin goes, I don't really have nothing new to say about this, and I ain't worse, so I'm not going to repeat myself a million goddamn times. Yeah. Oh well. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Been a pleasure speaking with you on this nice Wednesday morning, or afternoon, I guess. Probably early evening for a lot of you guys out there. But all good, man. We shall continue to do these live FOMC meetings. So if you do want to join in on future times, you're not already subscribed, I don't know, consider live subscribing. It's all good. Check out the free courses in the description below. They're literally free. There's literally no strings attached, not like a fucking bullshit like you typically see across the net. Other than that, I'll be signing off on that note. We'll do another just regular video analysis for tomorrow, Thursday, and then back on live again for Friday. Anyways, wishing everyone the best. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully next